is well. I am restarting the live now under another live, so I'm just gonna wait for a few guys to come into the room. Okay, a little bit different this year. Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome to all the people joining. How are you guys doing? If you guys are in the chat, let me know if you guys can see me horizontally or am I vertical? I'm curious to know. Okay, so hey concerned. Okay, I'm horizontal, perfect. Okay, that was what my intention was. Okay, cool. This is a different vibe, a different experience. Welcome to everyone joining. Thank you for joining this live. Okay, I had to cancel the other one, but we are here now. Okay, so as you guys can probably see from the title, I'm gonna do things a little bit differently this year. Thank you for the likes. Make sure you guys double tap the live. Yes, concerned, I saw your questions. Unfortunately, I had to exit that live. So if you could just retype them here. I saw one of them maybe. But basically the way that I'm going to be doing the lives, the reason I'm doing it horizontally is so that when people join, you guys can go back to the beginning and watch from the beginning while I'm still live, because the way that the lives are on YouTube, when it's vertical, basically what takes place is you have to be in the live. I hope that makes sense. You can't kind of go back. So when it's horizontal like this, you guys can go back and you can watch it from the beginning and then catch up with us here. Because the way that I'm going to be doing the lives now, okay, is that, hey Sue, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome. Happy New Year. So the way that I'm going to be doing the lives now is I'm going to be starting off with a topic. Hey Mary, how you guys doing? So yes, as you guys can probably see in the title, I'm going to be starting off with a topic. I'm going to talk about that topic for a little bit. And then I'm going to move into the astrology question and answer or metaphysical question and answer portion. So you guys can feel free to comment your questions while I am talking about the topic at hand. But I will get to you guys eventually after I finish speaking on the topic, okay? Yes, okay, that was another thing that I wanted to speak on. Thank you, Concerned. I wanted to speak on, hey Luna, happy 2025. Hey DV, hey Concerned, hey you guys, how are you guys doing? Did you guys have a happy new year? Happy New Year. Okay, so yes, that was another thing that I wanted to touch on was the new services that I have added. Perfect, yes, we're gonna be talking about auras today. First, I'm gonna talk about the services a little bit, the new ones that I have added. So the other services that I did have previously were the natal chart reading, progress natal chart reading, and the synastry reading. They are now longer, okay? So all of this information you can find on my website underneath the readings tab, okay? You guys can go under the readings tab. You guys can select which reading you guys would like or service, and then an email window should pop up, okay? So those are the readings that I had from last year. This year I added mini natal chart readings, okay? So that's basically going to be based on something that you guys want to know about, okay? If you guys have a certain area that you guys would like to know about, or if you guys want, I can just pick for you, basically, like whatever jumps out at me when I first pull up your chart, I'm going to speak on that, okay? So that's a mini natal chart reading, and then I have the one question reading as well, and everything, by the way, is in a video audio format, okay? So it's going to be me speaking the entire time. If you have questions before, you can always ask me. If you have questions after, you can ask me. If you guys would like to do a follow-up reading, okay, or like a follow-up meeting, more so it's not so much a reading, I have to do one of the in-depth readings for you first, okay? So either the full natal chart reading, the full progress natal chart reading, or the full synastry reading, and then we can book a follow-up meeting afterwards. It could be 30 minutes or it can be 1 hour. All of the information for that is also on my website, and that's how you guys can meet with me and we can chat more about your natal chart or any questions that you guys have that are a little bit more in-depth, okay? I can still email or like answer your emails if you guys have questions after the reading, but if it's something that takes a little bit more time or you want to discuss it or there's something you guys want to know, you guys can select that, okay? So to get to the follow-up reading, you have to do one of the natal chart readings, okay? So natal chart reading or progress natal chart reading, okay? The mini natal chart reading is 20 minutes. The one question reading is depending on the question, right? The full in-depth like natal chart reading is 1 hour. The progress natal chart reading is 1 hour, 20 minutes. And then the synastry reading is going to be 1 hour as well, okay? So that's pretty much what's going on with all of that. I also have the follow-ups. So the follow-up can either be a 30-minute meeting or it can be a 1 hour meeting, okay? And then if you guys are interested in starting your own business or you have questions about your own business and you guys want to meet for that, okay, business guidance, I have the information for that as well under the business guidance tab on my website. That's also a live meeting, okay? So that's basically what's going on with the readings. Welcome to everybody. How are you guys doing? If you guys are just joining, I'm sure now that it's horizontal, you guys can rewind and go from the beginning and get more information from there, okay? So basically what I wanted to talk about today, okay, in the beginning part of this live is going to be auras, okay? So I wanted to speak on auras and for people to understand auras. And as usual, all of my disclaimers that you guys probably know by now are I am not a medical practitioner. I am not a psychologist. I'm not anything of the sort. These things are based on my own experience, observations, things that I have observed through time, okay, and just come to conclude. So you guys can take what resonates and leave behind what does not. Whenever I share information with you guys, it's important to develop your own discernment, okay? Don't take what I say to be the only thing, okay? It's just what I have noticed over time, okay? So there's that. So that's basically my disclaimer. And also I wanted to speak on auras overall. So I think one of you guys asked a question. So yes, you guys keep asking questions and I will get to you guys at the end of my mini conversation here on auras, okay? So auras, for you guys to understand a little bit more about auras, okay, so an aura is the energetic field around you, basically, okay? So the simplest way to understand auras, hey Esperanza, hey everyone, welcome to the chat. Feel free to keep messaging your questions. I'll get to all of you guys. I'm gonna scroll back to the top and we'll start from the top after I'm done with this beginning little segment, okay? So that's what I'm gonna be doing from now on for all the people that are joining. I'm gonna be speaking on some sort of topic. So if you guys have specific topics you guys want me to cover, I already have a few in mind, but if you guys have anything else you guys want me to cover, you can let me know here or in the comments below. Hey Clarice, how are you guys doing? I'll add it to my list, okay? So that's how we're gonna be doing the lives. Little topic at the beginning, and then we're gonna go into the question and answer portion how I used to do it back in the day, okay? Okay, so back to auras. So auras basically are an energetic field around you, okay? And if you guys want to like the live, make sure you guys like the live. Yes, thank you, Concerned. Thank you, yes, I had to restart the live, okay? Okay, so basically it's the energetic field around you when you have the auric field. Everybody has an aura. Another thing is obviously we have like the NPC types of people or like the bot types of people. They're like their own category, okay? I'm speaking on the actual human beings that are around here in the world, okay? On this earth plane that we are currently existing on. Basically, the auric field is going to be around you. It is basically connected to your life force energy in a way, if you want to look at it that way, okay? And yes, there are people who can tap into auras. Some people can see auras. Some people can feel them. It depends, right? Because we're all psychic and intuitive in one way, shape, or form. So it depends what your psychic and intuitive gift is to see how you can feel into someone's aura, right? But the thing is like anytime you hear someone say they give me a good vibe, they gave me a bad vibe, like you're already kind of tapping into the auric field of another person, okay? So also, okay, auras are basically comprised of your thoughts and your emotions. That's basically what the auric field is, okay? So it's all of your thoughts and it's all of your emotions and it's around you, okay? So basically whatever you spend most of your time thinking about or feeling or, you know, dwelling on, that's going to now create your auric field, okay? Because all of us are energy first, okay? So everybody is energy first and then we turn into form. The whole reason that we can see form down here is just because of the frequency that we're at. It's a third dimensional plane, okay? That's a little bit more in depth maybe for another day, okay? But that's basically what's going on with that. So everyone has an auric field and basically when you have two people that come together, it's like two auric fields that are now merging, right? So if you're a little bit more open and you're a little bit more energetically sensitive, or sometimes I like to use the term porous, okay? Where you're just like, you know, susceptible to energies, right? Maybe you're a 12th house person, maybe you have a lot of water in your chart, however it manifests, right? You might feel this from people and you might now start merging to these individuals, right? So it's also important to understand that basically your thoughts when they are in motion, like energy in motion is emotion, right? So the more you think about something, the more you are adding emotional energy to that thing, okay? That's what everything comes back down to. So it's like if you have a positive thought, if you have a negative thought, if you have a fear, whatever it is, the more you are thinking about it, you're adding emotional energy to it, right? And this is something that they speak on. You can think of it in like the law of attraction and these types of things. The thing is where they kind of go wrong is like, it's not just about visualization. If you're trying to bring something through or quote unquote manifest something, right? When you're trying to bring something through, yes, you want to think it. Yes, you want to feel it. Yes, you want to visualize yourself, but you also want to actually put the action along with your visualization, okay? So that's the whole tricks of the trade here. The name of the game, Neptunian people, same thing with them. Like they have a strong third eye chakra or like 12th house people, or again, people who are maybe more watery, right? Or more psychic or more intuitive. You might have the strong visualization aspect to you, but again, you might be more in the feminine energy. And that's a whole different video for a different day, the masculine feminine energy within, because we all have masculine feminine energy within us, okay? So with that being said, okay, the feminine energy needs the masculine energy to take the idea and put it into action. So that's actually how you start to quote unquote manifest and ground your ideas and your visions into this physical plane and into this physical reality, okay? So going back to the auras, right? So this is how you can feel the aura within a person. It depends what is going on with the individual. I know some of you guys were saying you can't fully see auras. Not everybody can see them. It depends what are your gifts. Some people are more clairsentient, for example, and they feel into aura. So when you're feeling into another person's aura, you're basically feeling into their energetic field, okay? And the energetic field, once again, is comprised of your thoughts and your emotions is basically what that is. Now, same thing also in terms of what frequency you're vibrating at. Well, the frequency that you're vibrating at is going to be basically what your emotional standpoint is, right? Because everybody eventually goes to a neutral emotional standpoint, right? So everybody gets to some sort of neutral stance for themselves, right? So if your neutral energy is you're in the lower chakras and you're in fear, well, at that point in time also, you might also have low life force energy. And the thing is, this isn't really to put fear out there. It's just like you want to focus on healing and clearing the lower chakras, maybe certain fears that you have, whether they're yours, whether they were passed down to you, whether they're societal, whatever it is, you want to try to free yourself from these thoughts and these emotions and these feelings so you can kind of go into the higher chakras. And the only way you can do that is by having the awareness and by, having it brought to your awareness and knowing that it's even there. That's kind of like the first step, especially when it comes to clearing these things, okay? So usually when someone has quote unquote low life force energy, and like a lot of people start out in those lower chakras anyways, because it is a human thing is really what that is, okay? It's just the way that it is when we incarnate down here. It's just very dark, it's very dense. It's all of these things. So you're going to be in the lower chakras. Everybody starts out there, right? Until it's brought to your awareness. Maybe you have a certain event that takes place. Maybe it's a person that brings it to your awareness. Maybe it is you just noticing that by doing certain things all the time, you're not getting a certain desired outcome, So it can be any of these things that might lead you into wanting to improve, okay? Or clear these things, right? So the thing is also, the more you strengthen your aura, and that was the next thing that I wanted to speak on as well, okay? So you start to clear these things that are going on in the lower three chakras, and you want to move into those higher chakras. And all of this, the way that I psychically see it, again, this is just my own opinion, okay? But the way that I psychically see it is it's all connected to the solar plexus chakra, okay? So your solar plexus chakra is your personal power. I also look at the sacral chakra as your life force energy in a way as well, because it's your sexual energy too, okay? If you guys are interested in learning more about these topics, check out my videos on exploring the chakras. I do have a playlist on that as well, okay? Under the playlist tab, exploring the chakras, if you guys want to learn more about the chakras, and again, just things that I have observed through time, okay? So with that being said, your solar plexus, which is in your belly, is going to be your personal power. So everything comes back down to you trying to strengthen your solar plexus chakra, okay? You want to have a strong sense of self. You want to know who you are. What are your likes, wants, needs, and desires? What are you here to do? What do you want to do, right? And really starting to clear. And the more that you become strengthened in your solar plexus chakra, okay, that masculine energy within. So the solar plexus, the way that I see it, is your masculine energy within, and then you have the sacral, which is your feminine energy within, and the energies all work together, okay? You need both energies within you to be operating in full self-alignment, okay? They need to be balanced. So with that being said, you want to start developing that strong solar plexus chakra. I talk about this a lot, okay? So the belief in the self, the trust in the self, right? You are coming into those higher chakras slowly. And the more you start to develop, okay, that solar plexus chakra, you start to expand your aura outward. This is how I see it, okay? So the more you start to, first of all, close your aura, okay? So I speak on this as well. If some of you guys are interested in learning more about that, you can check out my video of how to stay grounded as a 12th house person. Now, you guys can check out that video even if you're not a 12th house person and this is resonating with you. You guys can take some of those tips and see how you guys can close your aura, okay? Because the thing is, ever since everyone incarnates down here on this earth plane, people just get energetically targeted. Your aura is open, and anything to do with like substances or wounding or traumas or anything that's like an addictive type of pattern, like all these things open up your auric field, and that's also how entities latch onto you, and then they're going to latch onto your wound, and then they're going to feed into that wound. I have videos on that as well. If you guys want to learn more about that, check out my metaphysical playlist. I have a video, I'm pretty sure it's called How Entities Attach or something of that sort. Okay, you guys will find it in there as well. So that's the thing. So it's all connected, right? Because the stronger your aura becomes, the more, first of all, you close it. Okay, you want to close it so nothing can enter it, so other people's energies can't interfere with your own energetic field. Because let's say you have low life force energy and you're completely oblivious to all of this, and you're maybe still in those lower chakras, all these types of things, and someone is projecting onto you, for example, a dream or a vision, well, in that particular case, you might unconsciously start feeding into what that person wants for you. I hope that that makes sense. And then you're not living for yourself. You are now living for that person, right? And this is something that tends to happen because if you look at it from that example that I was mentioning in the beginning of this video as well, when we have two people coming together, it's like two auric fields are starting to now merge. So if you don't have the strong solar plexus chakra and you don't have the strong sense of self and you don't know what are your goals, likes, wants, needs, desires, what are your triggers, what are your wounds, it's easy to fall into the other person, merge to them. And this is just, let's say you're within their vicinity, right? This is just you, let's say, hanging out with this person a lot. Maybe it's a family member, maybe you live with them, maybe it's a roommate, maybe it's a partner, whoever, okay? So let's say someone, maybe it's even like a coworker, someone you're spending a lot of time with, the auric fields are merging. So it's like, because we are, hey everyone, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? So what tends to happen is like, because you are around these people, whoever it is, right, and you're not solid in your person, okay, rooted, grounded, the root chakra, again, you want to go from the bottom up. Well, in that particular case, you start to merge to these people, okay, is basically what that is. And then I call it merging and purging. You merge to them. Maybe they have shadow traits. Maybe they have, certain types of personality traits that you might not necessarily resonate with, but you might not know this because the energy is blurred. The lines are blurred. I really, really hope that that makes sense. So with that being said, you want to focus on closing your aura, okay, and then strengthening your aura, okay? So then when you close it and you protect your aura, you protect your auric field, you close it up, okay, and you have the awareness within yourself. Let's say you do know what your soft spot is or your wound or your trigger, like whatever way, shape, or form you guys want to look at it, okay? In that particular case, you will know when someone is energetically, let's say projecting at you, or maybe you're picking up on something, or maybe it's your own thing, right? Maybe it is your own wounding, but you don't have to necessarily react in that particular moment because you are now aware of it, right? So some of these things, I know there's a huge focus on healing and these types of things, and I do get the sentiment where that's coming from, but some of these things within people, especially when we look at natal charts and these types of things, like people are sometimes gonna always have these traits. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll always have a certain type of soft spot, for example, right? And you'll see that in someone's natal chart. So instead of constantly focusing on that and trying to improve it and so on and so forth, you just wanna have the awareness and not react. For example, let's say you do get triggered in a moment, or let's say you do have a soft spot, or you do have a wound, like you want to kind of try to overcome this, right? So it's not overcoming you, basically, is what that is, okay? So that's basically what's going on with that. And the more you quote unquote overcome it, and the more you start to, again, believe in the self and whatever it is. I do speak on the collective wounds as well in my Exploring the Chakra series too, so you guys can check that out there as well. It's usually the lower 3 chakras, but we also have grief as well in the heart space taking place too. But regardless, okay? So there are these collective wounds, which are also collective shadow traits, which is kind of like a theme within the collective where people might get triggered or pulled down energetically, okay? So you want to have the awareness of this basically. So the more, again, you have the awareness, the more you strengthen your auric field, the more, first of all, it's not going to affect you as much. I hope that that makes sense, okay? So it's not going to affect you as much. And then also at the same time, what can happen is like, you don't get energetically pulled down. It's really what that is. You develop the solar plexus chakra. That's really what it is. You start to develop the belief in the self, the belief in your own path, and all these types of things, right? So it's a journey of self-discovery at the end of the day, but that's what you want to do. Ultimately, you want to start expanding the aura outwards. That's the way that I see it. And then when you expand the aura outwards, things come toward you is basically what that is, right? But first you guys have to, this is for everybody really, but really what everybody wants to do is they want to figure out what are the deceptions, what are, again, the shadow traits, what are the wounds, and all these types of things, okay? Things that can pull you down into your lower chakras and pull you out of your heart space. That's really what it all comes down to, because when you are in your heart space, you are being led by your intuition is basically what that is, okay? So that's the whole concept with auras and auric fields. Again, I know some people can see them. I know some people might even see them in their mind's eye. So some people can see it in the physical. Like I know some people who are able to do that. Some people can see it in their mind's eye, okay, in their third eye chakra. Some people can feel them. So it's this, okay? Everybody has this ability because all humans are sentient at the end of the day. So again, you'll always hear people saying that person gave me a good vibe or a bad vibe. And it's really all about being in tune with your body at the end of the day, because energy doesn't lie is really what that is. So that's basically in a nutshell what auras are. And you guys want to learn how to strengthen your aura and your auric field, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's going to be easier for everybody, right? Because then you're going to be in your own energy and you're going to be rooted in your own person is really what that is, okay? So that's basically my spiel on that. If you guys have any questions about that, feel free to comment below. Now I'm going to be moving into the questions and the things you guys have said down here. How are you guys doing? What's new? You said, yes, you find yourself merging a lot. So that's the thing. So some placements, especially 12th house energy, Pisces energy, Neptunian aspects are going to find themselves merging a lot, okay? So this is something that these individuals are going to have to master, because this is something that can pull you out of your path, is really what that is, okay? Because it's like, you know, let's say you're merging to a person, let's say you're unaware or whatever the reason is that you're around this person all the time, right? You take on their energetic field because you're always around the individual, okay? Not to mention, if you do engage with the individual in an intimate manner, I'm gonna have to speak between the lines a little bit, right? But then it's like this times 500, right? Because you've literally merged to the individual, right? So it doesn't just have to be in that way. It's just sometimes by you being around the person, you can literally merge to them. You can merge to their auric field. And again, I call this merging and purging. And it's like, you don't have to do that, right? You don't have to purge for other people, right? Because then it's draining for you. It's taking away your life force energy. And it's also a form of energy siphoning. I hope that makes sense, because that's just the way the plane is down here, in my own opinion, okay? It's just the way that it is down here. People who have a lot of light energy, people who have a lot of manifestation energy and manifestation potential tend to have dark people attracted to their energy fields, okay? Especially when I say dark people, people who are unhealed, people who are in their lower chakras, people who have low life force energy, they're gonna try to latch onto you because they, in a way, feel like they can't manifest for themselves, okay? And it doesn't mean that they can't, it just means that they would have to go through this whole process for themselves, right? But sometimes this is how energy vampires happen too. They see it within you, so then they try to do kind of like an energetic shortcut by lashing into your energetic field, right? And it's like, it's so tricky because it's like, you know, by being around them in a way, you allow them into your energetic space. I hope that that makes sense. You said, how would you recommend protecting yourself from that? All the things that I have mentioned. So trying to stay away from substances, closing up your aura, trying to elevate your vibration. I know people say that a lot, but things like, let's say, you know, going to the gym, going on walks, dancing, like, you know, things that are going to kind of get those good hormones rolling throughout the body, right? Anything that's going to make you feel better is basically what that is. Get you into those higher vibrations, doing things that you love, you know, keeping yourself around maybe people that are positive. Obviously, you can't be in like a constantly positive isolated bubble, because people are people at the end of the day, you know what I mean? But still, like, having the awareness is really what it is at the end of the day. I find like you just want to have the awareness to not allow yourself to get dragged down. That's really what it all comes down to when these people come to you and they end up in your energetic vicinity. You know, you can still interact with them, absolutely, but like it doesn't have to get to the point where it's like you're now merging to their energy fields, is really what that is. So that's kind of like a few things you guys can do. Check out my video, how to stay grounded as a 12th house person. I do have a few other things in there as well. And obviously, if you guys have any other recommendations, you guys can feel free to comment below. So let's see, what are you guys saying in here? You said you can see auras. What are ways to build and seeing it more vividly? Probably anything to do with cleansing. Again, it's all to do with like cleansing your vessel as well. So that's another thing you guys can do, like eating clean, because all these things like sugar or just like processed foods or just like, it's fine sometimes, obviously, like you're still human at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? Like you're still gonna go out and eat and these types of things, but like if you're constantly eating out or you're constantly in like kind of like an addictive type of energy, it's like it's lowering your vibration. It's basically what that is, right? So it's like trying to eat as clean as possible, you know, fresh foods if that's possible for you, and these types of things, right? It's anything to do, honestly. It's interesting to me because it's like a lot of the religious scriptures, like the theological texts, originally were speaking on all these things, right? They were speaking on all these things, trying to keep your vessel clean and pure is basically what that is, okay? So by keeping your vessel clean and pure and, you know, doing things that you love and being in a high vibration, you're going to strengthen your aura is basically what that is. You said 12th house, sir, Sun conjunct Pluto, Mercury, Uranus, and other potentials for a lot of power, but you feel weak sometimes in energetic boundaries. Awareness helps a lot. And you said your sisters and you are apparently codependent. Yeah, that's a thing too. So when I see things like this in someone's chart, like let's say you have Plutonian aspects or you have a, you know, like Scorpio energy, for example, and then it's in combination with the 12th house, like let's say you have a combination like that going on in your chart, you're really here to master personal power, okay? Is really what that is in this lifetime, like pulling your power back to you and really mastering sovereignty. Energetic sovereignty is really what that is. That's the way that I see those energies. Let's see. Okay, let me screenshot that. Let's see if it's gonna work, because I am horizontal. You said Pisces is known for merging. You said Pisces rising is known for merging as an uninformed individual. You probably don't know what life is without constant merging. Exactly, because especially when you have Pisces rising, when you have, let's say, Neptune Pisces aspects, let's say you have, okay, hold on. Let's say you have a Pisces rising. Let's say you have Neptune on the ascendant. Let's say you even have a Pisces sun or sun in the 12th house, or even if you have sun, Neptune aspects, it's a lot of people projecting onto you and you unconsciously feeding into their dreams for you, okay? It happens so subtly and it happens so unconsciously. So I can see where that comes from because it's like something that does take place. You said, do I have a video on closing your aura? And you said, agree. Yes, this is the video. This is the video, okay? So check out the other video that I mentioned as well, okay, where I talked about how to stay grounded as a 12th house person, okay? Check out that video as well, because in that video, I speak on a few things that you guys can do to help yourselves ground, right? To close your aura, and it's simple at the end of the day, but it's like you'll see down here on this earth plane, everything is trying to pull you out of your body is really what that is. Let's say it's substances, let's say it's caffeine sometimes if you have too much. I've noticed like if you get into an energy of addiction, so whether that is constantly drinking coffee or like you get into an energy of like needing that particular thing for life force energy, like let's say sometimes people need coffee, like a lot of it to stay awake, well then it's not your own natural body, right? That is allowing you to stay awake. So then you're opening yourself up, you become energetically porous. I hope that that makes sense, okay? So it's this. So it's these things, right? Substances, trying to stay away from substances, trying to get a good night's sleep. Like obviously you can't always have that, right? Like things come up. Maybe you have to, you know, start work early and you're out late, like whatever it is, you know what I mean? But trying to the best of your ability, you know, going to the gym, let's say exercising or walking, like anything that keeps your vibration high, okay? Doing things that you love. All these things are going to close your aura. Because the thing is, it's all about pulling your power back to you, okay? Because that's what it's all connected to at the end of the day. It's like everything down here is designed to pull your power away from you. I hope that that makes sense, right? So it's all about bringing your power back to you, and that's how you strengthen your solar plexus, right? Because when you have the strong solar plexus chakra, it's the belief in the self, right? So it's all connected because it's also connected to healing. It's connected to, let's say, awareness, whatever way, shape, or form you guys want to look at it, right? Awareness of the wounds, awareness of the triggers, awareness of the soft spots, right? Because those are all things that this earth plane energetically kind of tries to target, is really what that is, right? So like, let's say you have a specific wound or you have a specific soft spot or you have a specific, you know, whatever way, shape, or form you guys want to look at it, okay? Whatever it is, like you'll see that it's like a moth to a flame is really, really what that is, because it's in your energetic field, right? So because it's in your energetic field, you'll have people constantly coming through, kind of like a revolving door, either feeding into that or trying to get at that energy, right? And just what I've learned just from my own journey down here, like on this earth plane, is like, you can try to heal it as much as you can, but it's like just because of the astrological overlay, okay, because you get imprinted with that energy, the best thing to do is to not engage with the energy. Like it'll always be around you. You'll just have to learn to not engage with the energy is really what that is, okay, when it comes towards you. I'm just looking if you guys have any questions about the auras. You said your sisters treat you weirdly. How can you protect your energy when you're around them? Same thing, okay? Trying to pull your power back to you. And this is what it is, right? Like, let's say within you, there is like, you know, a certain soft spot or a trigger you might have and they try to poke at that. I look at this as like energetic mosquitoes because a lot of the time this earth plane comes at people through other people, right? So it's like people who are within your vicinity, they might know, let's say something that's going to upset you or they'll know like what to keep saying to bother you. Do you know what I mean? Like things like this. And I look at this as like energetic mosquitoes, right? So it's like when they're trying to come at you or poke at you energetically, you have to not feed into that, right? Because the moment that you feed into it, or let's say you get upset, first of all, like if you have strong boundaries or like you set a boundary, right? And it's like they're not respecting that, you obviously have to do something in that particular case, right? If they're not respecting your boundary, right? That's the first thing here. You want to, you know, outline the boundaries, but it's like, let's say they keep poking at you and like maybe you see that they're not changing, for example, well, you have to not engage with that energy is really what it is, right? Like, let's say they're trying to get a reaction out of you, you have to not, you know, feed into that. I hope that that makes sense, you know, and eventually they'll stop after they see that it's not bothering you anymore, kind of thing. You said on auras, is there a best way to read someone else's aura or suss out a bad aura if that exists? It's hard to say because I personally am very clairsentient, so I can always feel it off of a person. Like I feel it within my body, basically where somebody else is operating at, right? So what you guys want to do is you guys want to try to get in tune with your body as much as you can, your emotions, your feelings. And the thing is, you first want to figure out what's yours, right? Especially if you're someone who's prone to merging, like a 12th house person or a Neptunian person or like a Piscean person, even sometimes the Scorpio, like Cancer energy, like if you're watery, right, you might be like this, right? You might be prone to merging. So it's like you have to figure out what's your own stuff first. When you have a good grasp of what your own energy is first, then you'll know when you encounter other people, are they higher vibrational than you? Are they lower vibrational than you? I find sometimes like it depends. Like a lot of people operate out of, let's say, the solar plexus chakra and lower. And a lot of the time you might, let's say, feel anxious around that particular person, but it might not be your own. This is the thing. You have to know what your own energy is first, right? So it's like if you're someone who's prone to anxiety, well, you have to know what is creating anxiety for you, right? Let's say you've resolved all of that and you're around someone and now you have anxiety around that person. Probably your energy telling you that you don't vibe with them, or there's something there where they are vibrating out of fear, for example, or like a lower vibrational emotion. Like it's hard to explain because I always feel it within my own chakras where somebody else is vibrating at is really what that is. So the only way you can figure that out is by knowing your own energy first. And this is what I mean by mastering, let's say, your own wounds, let's say your own triggers, let's say your own like things, again, that give, let's say, you anxiety, for example, right? Like these types of things, right? After you master that and you figure out what that is for you, then you're kind of clear energetically. You know what I mean? So then when you interact with other people, you'll then know this is the other person's vibe is really what that is. So it's really energy at the end of the day. And it's just so unfortunate that people are not taught how to get in tune with their intuition, because people would save a lot of time, you know, in terms of, because people, you know, talk a lot, they use a lot of words and these types of things. And like people would save a lot of time, you know what I mean? If they were just able to hook into somebody else's energy field and know what's going on there, instead of wasting, you know, all the time trying to figure out, you know, what is this person saying this, and they're saying that, you know what I mean? It's like energy doesn't lie. That's the thing. So you want to figure out what's going on with the person's energetic field is really what that is. You said, being clairsentient, do I sometimes feel negative energy aura and then feel compelled to ask if they're okay? Usually I don't ask if nobody, like, if the conversation doesn't arise. I hope that makes sense. One second. Exactly. Energy doesn't lie. Energy doesn't lie. And that's why sometimes people talk about, let's say, actions versus words, right? In a certain situation, because someone's actions are always going to tell you where they are at, right? But before even having to get to that point, you can just hook into their energy field, okay? If you're a little bit more in tune. That's what intuitive means, okay? You are in tune, okay, with the around, like the surroundings around you, the people around you, right? So the more you get in tune with your intuition, you'll also know, let's say you walk into a place, right? Let's say it's a building, you'll know if the building has bad vibes. Do you know what I mean? Or let's say there is a strange vibe there, right? So you want to get in tune with your intuition. You said, can I see the aura, the colors of someone's aura? No, I don't look at, like, I don't see it. Like, I can see it in my mind's eye if I focus on it. For me, I'm very clairsentient. Like, I'm clairsentient, I'm claircognizant, I'm clairvoyant as well, in terms of like clairvoyant in my mind's eye. So usually for me, clairsentient, I would say, is my strongest. So I always feel it first. Okay, and then I feel into things and then I psychically see it. I hope that makes sense, right? So it's a combination of all these things, really. So yes, that's kind of how it comes to me. I don't see it in the physical plane. Like when I look at someone and I see a color around them, I had a friend who was able to do that, like a friend who was able to see colors in the physical, okay? So that's like a different type of clairvoyance as well. But yes, so for me, it's more so clairsentience, okay? I usually am able to hook into someone's energy field almost immediately, okay? Literally as soon as I meet someone, I know what's going on with them energetically. And yes, to answer your question concerned, if I feel a negative energy from a person, unless I'm speaking to them or unless they are my friend or unless the conversation comes up, I don't ask them. Do you know what I mean? So it depends, like what kind of negative energy are we talking about? Because there's an energy when you feel like someone's down or they're upset. That might be a different type of scenario, or like a negative energy where you feel like someone is just dark and like bad news bears, right? So there's different types of negative energies, okay? You said when you look in the mirror or you can see your aura in a variety of colors in your energy field. What is this called? Probably clairvoyance. You said, you think that I said that I use clairsentience during my chart readings? Yes, it's all of them, okay, for me, because it all kind of comes in together, right? So it's clairsentience, claircognizance, and clairvoyance when I am doing your natal chart readings. Usually when I'm reading the chart, and this is why the readings are video readings, because it's a flow of energy for me. So it's like I hook into your energetic field and I'm feeling into it, but I'm also psychically seeing things in my mind's eye. So it's like I tell you guys things that come through basically in the readings anytime any information does come through. You said you're saying it's not your circus, not your monkeys. Stop. I've been saying that too. You guys are so funny. You said that's so Saturnian of me. Oh my gosh, Esperanza, I knew you were going to say that because I psychically heard you in the astral plane saying that, okay? When I decided to create a format, I was thinking that and I thought of you because I thought of it how Saturnian it is. Exactly. You said the topic, format, calendar, new year. Love it. I'm glad that you love it. You said, isn't the solar plexus associated with the father role in someone's life? You feel like I mentioned that I feel it in my chakra. You said where the other person is operating from. It's interesting. When I learned about chakras, I learned actually that the root chakra is connected to the father because usually typically the father is the breadwinner, right? So it's like the root chakra is typically connected to the father or the dominant masculine role in your life, okay? The person who created safety and security and stability for you, okay? And then your heart chakra is usually connected to the mother, right? So when people have a mother wound, it's going on in their heart chakra is basically what that is, okay? But again, the roles could be reversed or one of the parents could have taken on both of the roles. So when you're like looking at these things, you can look at, let's say the mother took on the breadwinner role and let's say the mother role. Well, in that case, you're gonna look at the root chakra and the heart chakra when it comes to the mother, okay? You said very intuitive, certain areas get really strange vibes. Absolutely. Exactly. Dark. Yes. Energy doesn't lie. No, it doesn't. You said you think you take on other people's energy as an empath and a 12th house Cancer. Absolutely, okay? So the 12th house people are prone to this, okay? 12th house people are prone to absorbing energies is really what that is, okay? Because you're born energetically open, and especially let's say you have, I'm curious to see here what you said. You said 12th house Cancer. I'm curious to know if you're a sun, 12th house sun. Because the thing is like, especially if you're a 12th house sun, it's like your identity, the way that I see it, you guys, is like, okay, the way that I psychically see it is like, when you're younger, you're energetically open, right? So it's almost like you haven't fully landed into your body. That's just how I psychically see it, right? So, and this is what's connected to the solar plexus as well. So around your Saturn return, when you kind of start embarking on the adult journey, okay, you kind of start to come back down into your body and into your solar plexus chakra is the way that I see it, okay? That's kind of when it starts to develop. You start to develop the identity and the sense of self. So the 12th house person has a lot to clear because it's like you're clearing a lot of projections onto you, a lot of merging to other people, and that's why you struggle maybe with the sense of self because of the merging and the purging. You said as a 12th house you said as a sun in the 12th house, you feel so misunderstood and you want to leave your hometown, run away from everyone and start everything fresh. That's very 12th house sun energy. To feel that way, because again, it's a lot of projecting onto you is really what that is, okay? When you have a 12th house sun, because again, the sun is your ego and it's your identity, okay? So what's interesting too, sometimes what can happen, and I'm sure the 12th house people are going to understand this, or people who are a little bit more psychically or intuitively inclined, something that can happen as well is like when people project onto you and you feed into what that person, thinks of you or wants for you, and this is happening unconsciously. Well, in that particular case, hey, Mystic Journal, how are you guys doing? Well, in that particular case, it's like when you're always around that person, that vibration of you is constantly being played out. I hope that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? This is why people have a hard time when you try to change, because to them, it turns into like an ego death for the other person. It's a little bit more complex. I hope that makes sense, okay? So a lot of the time people, like, especially if they're around you, let's say someone that you've known for a long period of time, they place you into like an energetic box or like an energetic category. And if you're constantly around that person, they're kind of playing out that energetic imprint. I hope that makes sense. So that's why you might have the pull, okay? If you have the pull, let's say, to want to leave, or let's say cut certain people off, because then it's going to cut off that energetic, constant imprint that they are trying to play out. I hope that makes sense, okay? So 12th house people, like, that's probably why. But at the same time, you can still be around these people. You're just going to have to develop a strong solar plexus chakra is really what that is. And the belief in the self and being like, no, this is what I want for myself. And that's the struggle, okay, with the 12th house energy. You said, what if you don't have anything in the 12th house? Okay. Basically, the 12th house, even if you don't have a placement in there, you're going to have a sign in there, and that's still going to tell you a lot about your unconscious, okay? Okay, I'm going to start answering a lot of your astrology questions here, okay? So if you guys have any questions in terms of astrology, metaphysics, your natal charts, anything of that sort, feel free to comment below. I'm just gonna go in order here. Yes, you guys, Happy New Year. Okay, moon square Uranus is interesting. Okay, so when you have a square, you guys, you have one planet trying to do one thing, and then the other planet is trying to do the other thing here, okay? The struggle with the generational planets squaring your personal placements is that in a way, energetically, what's kind of happening here is like, it's generational energy, okay? If that makes sense, it's affecting your internal energy, okay? Your internal personal placements. So that's basically what it is. So when you have moon square Uranus, it's like, It depends what else is going on with the moon. I'd have to look at the moon sign, the house, what's going on with your 4th house, and if there's any other aspects of the moon. But if we look at just moon square Uranus, it's complex because in terms of your own emotional nature, in terms of your feelings, like you're a little bit more detached, right? Like you are looking for a sense of space and a sense of individuality, right? You're looking for freedom, but with the Uranus energy and freedom, it's more so the freedom to be the self, the freedom to express, the freedom to be in your own energy, okay? Is basically what that is with the Uranus energy. So when you have moon square Uranus, first of all, maybe the mother could have been like this, or the dominant feminine role in your life. The upbringing could have been unconventional. Let's say there was a lot of moving around, for example, or just like something around the home was different. There could have been chaos because Uranus in the shadow could be chaotic. So it could have been a chaotic, let's say, home or upbringing, or a lot of like moving, changing, like not very grounded. It depends, right? Because let's say you have moon in Capricorn, well, maybe that's going to ground it a little bit more for you. So it depends what's going on in here. But overall, moon square Uranus is exactly this, okay? Basically, it's like, it depends. Are you going more into the moon or are you going more into the Uranus, right? Because like if you go more into the moon, well, you're then in that case, you know, maybe going to be more in tune with your feelings and your emotions, but then Uranus is going to be like, okay, well, no, I want my space. I want to be my own person, right? This is going to manifest in your jobs. Like it's like a rebellion type of energy, right? As soon as someone tells you do this, you're going to want to do the opposite. Okay, so that's kind of how that moon square Uranus energy works, basically. You said you keep getting the message that you can move away after you retire this month. Maybe you can just travel and get away from the family to think about the family. We've splintered after your folks died recently. Oh, so sorry to hear that. Yes, sometimes honestly, distance and space creates like a good, you know, break, first of all, and also you see things differently when you're not like constantly around people, okay? Or like the people that you're usually around, if you have like a break from them, you'll be able to see the situation or any situation that you're in and you're invested in, you'll be able to see it more clearly if you have like the distance and the space. You said the aura, generational energy is what, or you said, is that important when likened to this? What does it nurture, allow into the self, carry, create, birth? Projection is necessary for carrying for the legacy. What is the question? Let me know. Or did you start up here? You said the aura is likened to you as the female anatomy. This is a bit crass, but true. You said it makes you think of mothers telling their daughters to sit, for instance, in an appropriate and protective way. You said you feel like people only like you when you align with the vision. Exactly. And that's what you're, okay, so this is very good. This is very 12th house. You said you feel like people only like you when you align with the version of you inside their mind. That's what the 12th house person is meant to break free from, okay? My conclusion thus far, I'm always learning about the 12th house and coming to conclusions, but that's what the 12th house person is meant to break free from, because then you're not living life for yourself, right? So that's the whole tricks of the trade down here on this earth plane, okay, is everyone wants to master energetic sovereignty, and that's going to be a different topic for a different day, okay? But you want to master sovereignty and you want to master what you are doing or wanting to do, okay? Hey, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing, okay? So exactly, that's what it is. You want to master your own path. Do you know what I mean? What you want to do in this lifetime. You don't want to feed into what somebody else wants for you. And it's so subtle and it's so covert and it's so sneaky the way the 12th house creeps up on you. And usually, just like everything, and I'm not a psychologist, that's always my disclaimer, okay? But usually it creeps up on you because it's like you're used to doing this. It's like everything comes from survival at the end of the day. Like the whole reason people do things, like their mechanisms or coping mechanisms or defense mechanisms, are rooted in survival, right? So everything comes from survival at the end of the day. So that's usually what happens. And unconsciously, you're going to play into that energy, and you don't want to do that, okay? Because then you're not living for yourself. You're living for those other people, and it's pulling you out of your path ultimately, okay? It's actually what's happening energetically behind the scenes. You said, what do I think about progress charts with natal charts in synastry? You can look at everything. Honestly, there are so many different types of charts, but yes, you can look at everything in terms of synastry as well. You said 12th house Scorpio. You said 12th house Saturn in Scorpio. That's a sign of a writer. You said your moon 29 degrees in Leo 3rd house squaring Uranus in the 5th house, chaotic home indeed, and you love your freedom. Exactly. Usually what happens with these people is like you weren't able to fully express the self for whatever reason when you were growing up, okay? When you have the moon squaring the Uranus, okay? So it's like, it's a plane of duality. So maybe you were, but more often than not, you weren't able to. So you're kind of meant to break free from, let's say, the expectations of the home or what they want for you to be the self. Anytime I see Uranus aspects in a natal chart, usually what this signifies to me is that this individual wasn't able to fully express the self in a previous lifetime. So in this lifetime, the individuality and the sense of self comes first, okay? I'm just going to go back up and see what you guys were saying up here. Happy 2025. You said we often talk about, okay, yes, this is Concern. So Concern said we often talk about the lines about those quote unquote in power, and I comment that they all use astrologers. You said that's so interesting. How did I come across that idea in quote unquote my experience? You know, I saw that question before I went live and I was thinking about it actually, and I was like, how did I come across this? Because I honestly don't remember how I originally came across it, but as time has gone on, it's very obvious to me that they all use astrology and they all plan certain events, allegedly, in my own opinion, okay, based on certain astrological dates. The root of this earth plane, the more you learn, is rooted in numbers, okay? It's rooted in numerology and astrology. So I don't know where I originally found out about it, but it's like, it's just been common knowledge to me up until this point in time. And everybody that is around me, we think the same thing. Do you know what I mean? So we all notice it. You said, hey, Barbara, yeah, I'm glad that you made it to the live. You said thoughts on Saturn squaring the sun in Taurus. And then you said in the 6th house. So here is another one of the generational energies squaring a personal planet. When you have sun square Saturn, okay, what happens here is the father could have been very strict. For example, when you were growing up, the sun being the father, Saturn being just like, you know, the generational energy, but also like that patriarchal, like very restrictive type of energy, for example, right? So the father could have been, let's say, a disciplinarian. Let's say he worked a lot. Let's say he was very strict, for example, the father, and you might now pull through masculines into your life, okay? Because the sun energy are the masculines in your life, and then the moon energy are going to be the feminines in your life, okay? So it's like, if you want to see what kind of masculine energy are you pulling through, what kind of feminine energy are you pulling through, you look at the sun, okay, for masculines. You look at sun, Mars, and Saturn for masculines. And for feminines, you're going to look at moon and Venus. What kind of energy are you pulling through, and what are the karmas to clear with these people, okay? So sun square Saturn depends what else is going on in here, okay? But if we look at just that particular aspect, again, it's a square. The sun wants to do one thing, Saturn wants to do something else, right? So when it comes to your identity, when it comes to your sense of self, I am curious here. You said it is in Taurus and it's in the 6th house. Maybe the father could have been materialistic and critical, for example, and you might attract, let's say, these types of masculines into your life as well, okay? People who operate predominantly out of that masculine energy could be like this. They could have a lot of these traits. So, you know, it's interesting because it's like people see Saturn aspects and they might look at it and think that it's something negative or something of the sort, but this earth plane, in my opinion, is operated by Saturn, okay? So those are the things that thrive down here. Those are the energies that do well down here. So you yourself now, yes, it could have been a strict upbringing or the father could have been strict, but you now have discipline within you, right? So you have the discipline to, let's say, work hard, or let's say to sit down and create a plan, or to go after your goals and to go after your dreams is basically what that is. I use Placidus. Yeah, definitely. No, you guys can still ask questions about the auras. If you guys are just joining the live, maybe you guys saw the beginning. So the whole reason I'm doing it horizontal now is because people can join and you guys can watch it from the beginning. Because when you guys have it in the vertical, like the vertical format, you can't go back unless they've changed that now, but before you weren't able to go back. So that's why I changed it to horizontal. So it's like you guys can join it at any time. And I don't know if you guys watch things on 2x speed, but you guys can start there and then you guys can start at the beginning and come here, okay? So beginning of the lives, the way that I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna talk on some sort of topic or subject, okay? And then the next part of the live is going to be the question and answer, and it's going to also be whatever else we talk about, okay? Whatever other topics come up. You said how to break free from bloodline curses related to DEVIL worship in the bloodline. Sorry for the dark question. No worries at all. So you could be the one that's actually breaking free from that, okay, for the whole family line. Honestly, when it comes to anything that is dark or satanic or anything of that sort, you really want to turn to God, source, the creator, and then it's going to assist you in your journey, okay? You know, I know it sounds maybe easier said than done, so you're going to have to see maybe what are some traits or patterns that you could have learned from these individuals, for example, that you might have the tendency to do. But yes, honestly, prayer and turning basically toward the light is going to be a way to break free from that, okay? And seeing maybe what are some traits and tendencies that could be patterns within the family line that you want to break free from, right? Because people who do that type of worship, they do a lot of rituals and they do a lot of giving their power away, but usually to lower and darker entities. So as long as you're not engaging in that, you're already breaking free from that. Do you know what I mean? Hey, oh my gosh, I'm glad that you love how I speak. Yay, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you said you watch me. Yes, I'm already on 2x speed. That's very, very true. You said, okay, I'm just going to go back up. You said you were talking about lineage curses today. Well, there you go. It's a theme. Yeah, exactly. It's a thing because a lot of people, so I spoke on this in the previous live as well. Okay. So basically what's happening is like, okay, a lot of people talk about how there's too many people on this planet and in the world, and there's two separate like timelines or like reasons for that. So there's like the dark agenda, why they think there's too many people, but then there's the actual energy as to why there's quote unquote too many people. And again, it's just my own opinion, allegedly, okay? I always have to say that, but it's like people have just lived very mindlessly up until this point in time. So it's like the way that I just psychically see it is people have duplicated themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's just like every time someone has a kid, they like replicate themselves. And it was so interesting. Someone popped up on my feed the other day, and you know, sometimes how people say when people are born, they're born with a blank slate, like the baby is like a blank slate. And then the person was saying, it was a random individual, and I guess they were teaching a class or something. It could have been like an older video too, I'm not sure. But anyways, so the person popped up, and basically the person was saying how like, oh, people aren't actually born as a blank slate. Like you're actually like a product of, yes, the DNA, but also like the ancestral patterns and all these types of things, which is like, you know, when we're in this community, for example, like to us, that's very obvious that it's like people are literally the product of their environment, right? And like, you know, if there's a certain belief system within the family line or a certain pattern, like you're going to have that automatically. Because it's like for you to break out of that, you have to know what the other side is like, right? So if you have a certain type of generational pattern within the family line, you're gonna have to first have the awareness. That's where everything starts, okay, you guys? You have to have the awareness that this is happening in your family line. Then when it's brought to your awareness, you have to think about how can you stop doing that type of thing, right? Or how can you get to the other side? So sometimes for you to get to the other side, you have to be exposed to the other type of energy, if that makes sense, right? So maybe putting yourself in situations where people are doing things differently to break free from a certain thought pattern and so on and so forth. So that's the way that I see it these days. So it's like, we're kind of like at peak wounding, in my own opinion, okay? Like the earth plane is at peak wounding. It is just like, again, like a lot of things that haven't been looked at. So that's why during this period of time right now, like a lot of people are having things come to the surface because it's just that type of time. Okay. You said, what are my thoughts? You broke your right foot. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. What do you think the universe is telling you to get more grounded? Yes, Mary, I think I remember you having Aquarius in your chart. Aquarius deals with the ankles. So people who have Aquarius energy, like you guys tend to be ungrounded. So you guys might bump into things, fall down, twist your ankle. Like it's always around the foot area. So I find that interesting that that took place. So yes, sometimes when something like that happens, it's yes, potentially the universe telling you to be a little bit more grounded, paying attention to your surroundings a little bit more. But sometimes what can you do? You know what I mean? You said your bestie was on, I'm not going to say that, but it's a certain type of substance. You said she was lost and she found you by following a light. She was attracted to you from the waist up. It was a green light with purple hues, and your head, it was light purple. What does that mean? You were shooketh. That's interesting. So sometimes when people do take these substances, they can see things, right? It's going to enhance their abilities in one way, shape, or form. Now, again, I'm not recommending anything or advertising anything. You guys all have the free will to do what you want, but probably she was picking up on like your energetic field. Because let me tell you guys something really interesting, okay? Let me tell you guys something really interesting. I notice, okay, when I am out and about, and just life of a 12 house person, I'm a 12 house person myself, okay? I've noticed when I'm out and about and I see someone, you know, who is on some sort of substance, right? The people who might not have houses and are just kind of like roaming the streets, okay? I've noticed that for whatever reason, they're always like, it's almost like they can see the light in you. They're like energetically drawn to your energy. I'm always trying to like dodge them energetically. Like when I see it, because I can sense it, right? So I can sense like when they're, first of all, when they're on something, because like the energy when someone is on one of these substances that are like the lower vibrational types of substances, especially the ones that are like synthetic, you know, you can really feel a certain energy within the person. Again, it's more so in the solar plexus chakra, and it's almost like this like burning fire energy. I can't explain any other way. So anyways, you can feel within the person, and I'm always kind of like, okay, like time to dodge this individual. And I noticed like one time, let's say when I was on the bus, the person was like energetically, they weren't doing this on purpose because obviously like they weren't even present, right? But it was like energetically happening where like I could see them coming within my vicinity, and I would like move and leave, and then they're coming. So like energetically, I'm like saying to myself, like putting a energetic shield around me, or like an invisibility cloak. So yes, when people are on substances, they can probably pick up on the energy. Like already people are to some extent sentient, you know what I mean? Like people can pick up on vibes. Like there's a reason that people want to be around certain people. This is also tying back to the auras, right? So people can pick up on energies, or they can pick up when someone is a bad vibe, for example. Like you'll see this, right, taking place already, like people who are sentient, but especially when they're on something of the sort, like I feel like they can kind of tap into it a little bit more. And it's really interesting because like a lot of the time when it's those types of substances, it's very dark energetically. You said this might be a deep question, but what do you think souls are growing for? You believe we are here to grow, but why does the soul strive for growth so much? I have a different belief system now. I don't necessarily believe that it's just about growth down here on this earth plane. Like, I'm right now of the belief system that we are in some sort of reincarnation, like recycling loop or something of the sort at this point in time. So the way that I see it is like, it's all about, first of all, I mean, there's a few things going on here. First of all, down here, like the collective shadow is very dark and it's very intense, okay? So with the collective shadow being very dark and very intense, like there is like a lot of things that people need to integrate. Like a lot of people are fragmented, okay? It's just what it is. Like people are fragmented because they're not aware of these types of things. And, you know, for you to start clearing these things, you have to come out of like a victim consciousness, right? And that's like the lowest possible consciousness are people who are in a victim consciousness, which is most people until they come into the awareness. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? Until you have it brought to your awareness, you have an awakening or something of the sort, or you want to change yourself, or again, you see patterns and things repeating in your life and you want to change. You know what I mean? It has to be the person who wants to change, right? So because of that, it's very dark down here. It's very dense. It's very intense. So I know there's the belief system that souls come down here and the souls are here to grow and evolve. But at this point in time, like sometimes I think about it and I'm just like, is that really what the souls are here like to do? Because sometimes I get to the point where I'm kind of like thinking and I'm just like, there's so much dark energy down here on this earth plane that it just kind of feels like those people are just like a lost cause is really what that is. You know what I mean? So the way that I see it now is energetically, you want to do what you love. You want to have fun. You want to be just like in a vibration where you're just like enjoying life is basically what that is. And that's really all that you can do at the end of the day, because everything else is out of your control is really what it is. You said, oh my goodness, yes, people are always staring at you in public and it feels like their energy is drawn to you, and sometimes you feel paranoid that they are following you and you try to dodge them as well. It's this. I'm telling you, no, you're not, because this is one of the things, okay? Because of the inversion of the earth plane, which is shadow masculine, okay? So the earth plane is shadow masculine, so everything is inverted down here. So anything to do with feeling and intuition, as soon as you feel something off, people think like, or people say that you're being paranoid. It's not you being paranoid. That's literally your intuition being like, hello, there's something going on here. Like, get out of this situation. And this is what I was saying earlier too about getting in tune with your body. And this is also my belief around attachment styles. I might have a lot of unconventional beliefs, okay? But the thing is, when it comes to attachment styles, like sometimes I think attachment styles are actually your intuition trying to protect you in that particular situation, right? Let's say you're around someone and you always have anxiety around that person. That could literally be your intuition, like telling you like, hey, like something is off here, right? Or let's say you're out and about and you just get like that type of feeling, right? So it's really this, okay, you guys? It's all about getting in tune with your intuition and trying to strip away or just like shed these like shadow like types of terms like paranoid and so on and so forth, because it's like there's a reason that thought or feeling is coming up. Obviously, you don't want to feed into it. Like you'll have to know yourself and you'll have to learn yourself to see, is it actually a fear, for example? But yeah. You said, what's the difference between practicing magic and just using your mind to manifest? Is magic necessary? No. Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing, you guys. Everything that you do that's outside of yourself, you're giving your power away, okay? So even if you're using magic, for example, you're basically saying, I can't do this, okay? And that's something that people have to learn and master down here on this earth plane is their energetic sovereignty, okay? Is basically what that is. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I'm trying to think. Oh yes, we were talking about the magic. So anytime you are trying to do a spell, or you're trying to call something in, or you're trying to do this candle and whatever, okay? All these things is you giving your power away, okay? And a lot of the time you don't actually know what you're energetically connecting to, so those energies are always going to come back to collect. That's what's important to understand, okay? You said, what energy does money carry? How do you attract the energy? So you guys, and this is interesting because this is connected to Taurus and the second house. So the second house in Taurus is connected to money, and it's connected to self-worth, and it's connected to your values as well, okay? So for you to attract more money, and this is all connected again. I love when everything ties in, okay? For you to attract more money, it's all connected to the self-worth aspect of things, okay? Because money is an energy. So it's important for you to see and be like, how much do I think my time and my energy is worth, okay, to get the money, okay, is really what that is. So it's gonna take a while because sometimes it's generational beliefs, again, because it's like, okay, so I studied economics in school. And usually they say that like when people are in a certain socioeconomic bracket, it's going to be hard for them to break out of that socioeconomic bracket, which makes sense if you think about it metaphysically, if you think about it just like from, like the belief systems being passed down, right? So when it comes to money, you have to look at the home and you have to look at the family and you have to look and see what are their belief systems around money and what may you have internalized, for example, right? In terms of the belief systems that you have around money now that you internalize, maybe that aren't your own, maybe they're outdated belief systems, maybe they are scarcity belief systems, like whatever it is, right? So you want to start there. And then also it's again all about building that solar plexus chakra. The more you have the confidence in the self and the more you build that solar plexus chakra, the masculine energy within and the trust within the self, the more things are going to start coming towards you. And this is a process. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight. I know people out here are always trying to do abundance spells and this type of spell. It doesn't really matter because it's like if you're vibrating at a certain frequency, like that's what's going to come towards you. I hope that makes sense, right? So you could do a spell and maybe it'll help you for like a brief period of time, right? But it's like you're still at a certain frequency. Do you know what I mean? Like let's say someone's operating very much out of their lower chakras, for example, right? And it's like they could be in those lower vibrational energies that I mentioned. Let's say they're in a victim consciousness. Like maybe they will attract something to themselves, but you could attract more, right? Because again, it's about breaking free from the programming. That's literally what everything comes down to. And most of the programming down here on this earth plane for most people, okay, is some sort of either scarcity or it's going to be survival mode. Like this is why a lot of people are trapped in the lower chakras, okay? Because it's generational and it's collective, okay? So it's important to break free from those things and just have those things brought to your awareness. And when you have it brought to your awareness, then you have to choose different actions. That's how you heal and that's how you clear these things, basically. You said that's you. You said peasant ancestors who work hard, not smart. You're smart, but you're the same. Neptune in the second house. See, Neptune in the second can bring through a lot of money, but they have to actually figure out how to ground basically the money into this physical plane and into this physical reality. Oh, good question, Nate. So Nate asked, how would I recommend overcoming a scarcity wound? So you have to look and see where is the scarcity wound coming from, okay? And again, it depends because it depends also, again, who is the generation that raised you? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like if your parents skipped a generation, for example, like let's say you have older parents, you have even older views, okay, that got basically, like given to you is really what that is. Whether it's directly or indirectly, because you were within that environment is really what that is, okay? So with that being said, within this collective, the way that they do things is they operate on scarcity down here, okay? It's always all about a scarcity of resources. Have you guys always noticed they're always saying this is gonna go missing and then there isn't this, there isn't gonna be this. Like it's always like trying to pull people down into their root chakra. Now, what I will also say is when you guys are in your self-alignment and you're actually living in your truth and you're living from the heart space, everything comes to you, but it takes a while to get into those higher energies is basically what that is. You said you have had a very strong aversion to money, to the time and money exchange. Always have had. The more, you said, one second, you said you're more with the law of mutual exchange. You have natal stellium in Sag and in the second house. Makes sense. You said you're echoing Diana's question. Diana said, so Chiron is the wounded healer when it's conjuncting both the moon and the IC. Is that a major wounding? That's interesting. I've really been thinking about moon conjunct Chiron recently. So interesting that you guys are asking that. And you said, does that mean wounding comes from a past life? It could. Here's the thing. If you guys can't figure it out from this past life, you could be carrying it from a previous lifetime, okay? So when you have the moon conjuncting the Chiron, it's so interesting. This is a specific wound when it comes to the home. I don't want to say that it's exactly the same as having a Scorpio moon. It's not fully, okay? But still there's some sort of wounding that takes place around the home. So you might have, let's say, issues, even let's say with feminines in your life. It starts with the mother and the home when you have moon and Chiron conjunct, okay? When they're together, okay? So you're basically meant to heal through feminine energy in this lifetime, okay? You're meant to heal, let's say, the relationship with the home or the mother, okay? Or the feminine energy within when you have moon and Chiron conjuncting, okay? That's moon and Chiron. Also, with moon and Chiron, it could be feminines overall in your life, okay? There could be, let's say, you not trusting the feminine or, like not having a good experience with feminine energy. And when I say feminine energy, it's like creativity, it's intuition, it is the psychic realms, for example. Like that's all feminine energy, okay? So it says, one of you guys said you have Chiron conjunct a south node in Cancer and your moon opposes Pluto and squares Jupiter. So you have Chiron conjunct south node in Cancer and your moon opposes Pluto and squares Jupiter. So the Chiron conjunct the south node, see, this would literally be a wound that you're bringing from a previous lifetime and it's in Cancer, so it's literally connected to the home, okay? So with the south node in there and this energy could be pulling you out of your north node, okay, where you're trying to go. So Mystic Journal, there's probably something to do with the home and the upbringing that you are meant to clear, okay, in this lifetime to kind of help activate your North Node, okay, which is North Node in Capricorn, which is getting the money and getting the gains. You said, hey everyone, how are you guys doing? I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, questions about your natal charts. You said the Saturn and the second house in Libra mean you will be broke. Not necessarily. It's one of the two experiences. So you either incarnate into money or you don't have any money. But basically you're mastering money in this lifetime when you have Saturn in the second house, which is so interesting, Silveres, because you just asked the question about money, right? And I talked about the second house and I talked about Taurus, right? So Taurus deals with money and self-worth because, again, the self-worth is connected to how much money you are going to make, okay? So that's why those two things are connected. And when you have Saturn in the second, not only is it connected to money, but it's also connected to your self-worth and how much you believe in yourself, how much you value your own time and your own energy. Because the thing is, sometimes you can think that you're the best, you know what I mean? And that you value yourself so much, but your actions could be saying otherwise, right? So it's like you have to see, are your actions aligning with your thoughts? Do you know what I mean? Because like, let's say, for example, let me give you guys an example, okay? Let's say you guys started your own businesses, for example, and let's say you guys are trying to now figure out pricing, right? And I'll give you a typical example because I've seen this happen a lot. So you're trying to figure out your pricing and you're just starting out, and it's fine. I feel like this is common because I have seen it happen a lot. And when you're trying to figure out your pricing for the product that you're trying to deliver, or let's say it's a service or whatever it is that you're trying to deliver, you might go, let's say you have the scarcity wound and let's say you have the money wound, okay? And especially because you're just starting out, right? You might not, let's say, know how much, you know, your product is worth, right? Or how much like people are willing to buy. You might not have any sort of gauge, right? So you might kind of like aim low. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, let's say you give it for, let's say, I don't know, like $15 or whatever, but it's like as time goes on and maybe you develop more belief in the self and trust in the self and whatever, you might raise it, right? Or something of this sort. So I've noticed that happens a lot, especially for people who operate out of the feminine energy, people who are like dominant feminine energy. And this doesn't really matter what your gender is. This is just like, what energy are you operating out of dominantly? If you're dominant feminine energy, these individuals tend to give a lot and like charge less. I hope that makes sense, right? So it's like, again, it's about reclaiming your energy to you. And you'll always know, like, let's say it's a product or whatever it is, like that it's an equal exchange if you don't feel drained. Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how you'll know that the exchange is equal, because it's like, let's say you kind of did it out of a scarcity. You're like, oh my gosh, maybe no customers are going to come or whatever. Like I'm kind of giving like a random example here, right? Let's say you're in that energy and you're like, okay, well, let me just do it for less money and then I'll attract more people. But then it's also like, who are the people that you're attracting? Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things to look at, for example. So I'm kind of giving you guys like a random example because that's directly then tied to your self-worth. And also, okay, also another thing that I want to speak on to is the money and the self-worth, and how much money you make is also connected to feminine energy and your relationship with the feminine, right? So it's like money is also connected to your ability to receive, okay? So it's like, again, if you're not used to receiving, there's something going on with your feminine energy, okay? Maybe even your heart chakra in this case, for example, right? Like let's say when you were younger, and everything stems from childhood, and I'm not a psychologist, okay, by any means. Those are always my disclaimers, okay? But let's say when you were younger, you know, there was always some sort of commentary made whenever you got something, let's say from the family or the parents, and somebody would like throw it in your face later or whatever. Let's say something like this, right? If you're in that energy, you're going to struggle to receive, right? Because there is the wounding around that, because unconsciously you have made this like connection, right? When you receive something, someone might throw it in your face later or something of the sort, right? So you're going to have to explore, because there's so many different ways that this can manifest. But yes, you said that makes sense. Your daughter has this placement you feel like doesn't gravitate with your creative art style. What placement does your daughter have? You said free will and astrology. You're really starting to believe astrology is strong. Of course, if you don't do anything with free will, things won't manifest, but astrology and divine timing is real. Yes, so while we're under here on this earth plane, so the way that I see it, you guys, is like you want to master your natal charts is basically what that is. You want to see what are your wounds and what are your gifts based on the natal chart, right? Because the thing is, you're going to have the path of the soul that's going to show you in your natal chart, and you're also going to have the wounds that are pulling you out of your path, right? That's the way that I see it. So with that being said, you know, it's hard to say how much free will we actually have, because while, first of all, if you're unconscious and you don't know anything about astrology, those people are playing out their placements the most, okay? The people who don't know anything about astrology, like they are playing out their placements the most. I feel like we access free will after you kind of transcend the natal chart. I hope that makes sense. You stop feeding into these energies, right? When you're unconscious and you're unaware, it's kind of happening already. I hope that makes sense. You said, oh yeah, you said that she has Aries moon, Chiron. Yes, okay, Chiron, and it's conjunct, right? You said, how do you heal the Chiron wounding? So it's the area that you heal through is basically what that is, okay, with the Chiron. So sometimes to heal something, you have to do that thing. Do you know what I mean? Because the wound is there because you weren't maybe able to express that aspect of yourself. So for example, in your case, like you're mentioning, it's creativity. Maybe there was something always where, you know, maybe there's something where you always wanted to be creative or something of that sort and you weren't able to for whatever reason. And then giving yourself that, let's say later on in life, like that's a way that you can heal, let's say, the wound, right? Can you tell me once again, what sign is it in? You said, look at how we have been historically undervalued and overworked. Exactly. And you don't mean recent since the 60s. Exactly. It is of all time, right? People overall, like you'll see that. And it's just the way that the system has been up until this point in time. Because even if you look at consumerism and all these things, I mean, now if we really got into it, we would be here all night, right? But the thing is, it's like, first of all, you know, when you look at the whole concept of consumerism, people actually in a way become objects, and how fast can they produce things, right? And how much can they produce in a short period of time? Like that's what it all comes back down to, which is just bad news bears, right? Because then the humanity is lost in that particular case, in a nutshell. So it's like, again, a lot of these things are generational, yes, but they're also collective. Do you know what I mean? It's also societal. It's also like things that people have been programmed. So it's not necessarily you. So this is that whole concept that I was speaking on earlier, where it's like people aren't born a blank slate, right? It's like you're not fully born, especially if you look at astrology, you're definitely not born a blank slate. You're born with some sort of code, right? When you enter this realm. I'm glad that you're here. Welcome, Suze. How are you doing? I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, or anything you guys want to speak on in the metaphysical world. You said it really is hard to say how much free will we have. We have like a certain, when you look at the natal chart, you have a certain bracket of things, right? And here's the thing, right? If you even look at the natal chart and you have a certain gift, right, that's in your natal chart, if you do something that's not in alignment with that gift, you're going to see that it's harder to achieve that thing. It's kind of like going it's like an uphill battle, right? If you're doing something like, let's say for example, you're someone who's super psychic and intuitive and you're trying to go into something that is very linear and masculine. Like let's say you are trying to, I mean, you probably could do something that's linear and masculine, you could, but you'll see that it's not vibing with you because that's kind of like not where you're meant to be. So then the question is, do you actually have free will? Do you know what I mean? So it's really interesting to look at. Thank you, Esperanza. That's so kind. Exactly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are so awesome. You said, you know, with what you said earlier about the green light from the waist down and purple light around the head, could this be your aura? Yes, exactly. I think I said that potentially that is your aura, okay? If you look at the colors and you connect them to the chakras, purple could be connected to your crown chakra and then green could be connected to your heart chakra. So it's interesting because like sometimes when I see someone who has the way that I feel into auras is they feel either light to me or dense, okay? So when someone has a lot of unprocessed things, they feel very energetically dense, okay? So it's like, when I say dense, like there is a lot energetically going on around the person. Now, if I were to correlate it maybe to a specific color, it would feel kind of like muddy, right? Or like cloudy, for example, or just like dark energetically, okay? So that's good for you, right? Because then you're a little bit in like the higher, or like you're a little bit more high vibrational, right? If you're operating out of like the purples and the greens, which is nice. You said, why does the 1% keep coming here? Are there better places to incarnate? So this is my own opinion, okay? My own opinion, disclaimer, my own opinion and allegedly, okay? So for them, what they do, they can't really go anywhere else because they're kind of karmically bound to being down here because of the shadow energies that they have engaged in. That's pretty much the way that I can say it, right? So it's like if they were to actually, and this is why they're obsessed with immortality, and this is why they don't actually cross out when they cross out, right? What they do, and this is just again psychically and from my own opinion and from what I have seen, okay, just psychically. So again, I can't confirm it in any other way, but it's like what they do is they catch them on the astral plane, okay? They do some sort of ritual. First of all, they know when they're going to cross out because again, they have astrologers, and because they know, they kind of do some sort of ritual to catch them on the astral plane, and then they keep reincarnating them, okay, within the same groups, within the same families, within the same lines, right? So again, from my own belief system, the whole reason they actually don't want to cross out and they actually don't want to officially be done is because then they actually have to face the karmic repercussions, if that makes sense. So they've tried to figure out a way to manipulate, right? Because down here, it's kind of like, the only way I can explain it is like down here, like in a way they can be in power and they can rule because they know all of the shadow like types of tricks and deception, all these things. And that's what the awakening right now is all about, right? Because the every person is becoming aware of all these tricks. So they're kind of actually energetically losing power. I hope that makes sense. So that's actually connected to their obsession with Mars, okay? Allegedly, in my own opinion. Allegedly, in my own opinion. Because like, It's really interesting to see the tactics and the beliefs that they have, because when I look at it from a metaphysical perspective, it's not actually the most intelligent, okay? But so with them, like the way that they see it, because the thing is, like the planets are actually dimensional, you guys, okay? The planets are dimensional. So it's not an actual physical place, it's a dimension, right? And again, you know, we can get into that a whole different day, why you can see certain things out the window. The whole reason we can see physical form is because of the density that we're at, because of our frequency, okay? But anyways, so they're kind of obsessed with Mars, because the way that I see it is like they're trying to escape the quote unquote karma of the earth plane. So they're trying to go somewhere else. But the thing is, what they don't either, you know, or they're not aware, or maybe they're too like, because the thing is, when someone is a narcissist, they have like a level of grandiosity that they think that they're smarter than everyone else. And they also kind of like overlook certain things. That's why a lot of the time criminals get caught, right? The criminals that get caught have these traits, right? Because it's like they think they're never gonna get caught, right? That's why they do the things that they do, okay? So there's like a level of grandiosity when it's narcissistic, and obviously not all criminals are narcissistic, right? We have the sociopath and the psychopath and so on and so forth, okay? But I'm sure you guys catch my drift, right? There's a level of overconfidence, right? That happens, okay? With certain individuals, right? So with them, I feel like, in my own opinion, they're trying to go to Mars, okay, for a few reasons. They're trying to escape the Earth's karma, okay, by going there and maybe, you know, doing whatever they want to do there. But the thing is, you can't really go to that dimension, because it's like you kind of have to complete the karma here first. Like if they were to go there, like Mars, for example, would have its own set of rules and its own karmas, and you know what I mean? Like its own vibrational type of like energy. Do you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So anyways, it's kind of good when it's crowny, because you guys can read between the lines. You said you're not even being kind for kindness sake. You have no use for fake flattery. You already embody every bit of that. It's who you are. Thank God that you decide to. You're nice. Thank you so much. You said, where do you look in your chart for purpose? Would it be North Node, for example, your North Node in Virgo and South Node in Pisces with Mercury, Chiron, and Sun? There would be that life purpose. Okay, for life purpose, you guys, it's a multitude of things, okay? So you can look at your North Node. Yes, that's just like the beginning, okay? You can look at the North Node, but you can also look at aspects to the North Node. That's going to tell you about how you're getting to your life purpose. Then you can have multiple things going on in a chart, right? Because sometimes you can have someone's life purpose be, let's say their life purpose is to come into their power, for example, and that's the life purpose, right? Sometimes someone's life purpose can be self-love, or, you know, reclaiming their power, or it can be, let's say, learning boundaries, right? It can be things like this, right? So you have to look at the chart, because there's multiple things that are going on in there. If you look at the abundance of houses and the abundance of energies, you want to look at the whole picture, right? What's going on with everything, because all these things are going to be connected to your life purpose. You can have multiple life purposes. Sometimes part of the life purpose, let's say in the earlier part of your life, you're clearing out previous lifetimes, for example, right? Karmically and all these things to access where it is that you're trying to go. So it's a multitude of things, but like the simple answer, yes, you're going to look at the North Node, and you can look at the aspects of the North Node, but I would look at a lot of different things within a chart. I would look at the abundance of energies. Do you have like a stellium? Do you have an abundance of certain types of energies in your charts, and these types of things, okay? So it's a lot of things to look at. You said, oh my gosh, in your city, there's billboards across the valley that are dedicated to someone who has passed in loving memory of ex mother, daughter. You said they've been up for 6 months. Yes, it's energy siphoning. So that's another thing too, you guys, even with like fame, because when you have a lot of people connecting to your energy field, people are actually keeping you bound energetically to this realm, okay? So that's kind of like the whole struggle with that energy as well, because it's like, let's say there's people that have crossed out, okay, from this like earth plane right now. Let's say they were very well known, but anytime, you know, the everyday person's like, if they're still within the timeline and people are listening to their music, like you're still being pulled energetically to this earth plane. So that's a struggle with that energy. So yes, it could be absolutely a form of energy siphoning. Hey Beatrice, how are you doing? How are you guys all doing? You said you have Neptune first house. You take others' bad habits. Okay, bad vibes and good habits. Why don't you take other people's good vibes and good habits? You ignore good people, and you're all about broken people. And of course, you feel bad. Okay, well, first, okay, here's the thing. And this is interesting because this is going to relate to what I was saying about the auras in the beginning part of this reading, okay? You have to see, why are you allowing these people into your energetic space? Do you feel bad for them? Do you feel like you can fix them? Do you have a soft spot for them? Because here's the thing, if those are the cases, in that case, you have to understand that you can't fix anybody, and you can plant seeds, but it's like sometimes someone being around you and in your own energetic field and in your energetic space, if you're someone who's open energetically, which you yourself sound like you are, right? You're gonna merge to them, and this is what I call merging and purging, and you don't have to merge and purge. Do you know what I mean? That's what's annoying about these energies until you're aware, because when you're unaware, it's situations like this, right? Dark people, people siphoning off of your energy, people coming into your energetic space, merging to your energy field, because you're high vibrational, okay? You're high vibrational and you have a lot of manifestors energy. Maybe they have low life force energy. So it's this. You said you have a soft spot for broken people. I mean, that's going to have to be something that you might have to work on, because otherwise they're going to siphon off of you and they're going to take you out of where it is that you're trying to go in this lifetime. You said on dense, third dimension / density, dense or thick, your go-to word to describe a less than smart person, thick, dense. And then you said you also think of calcify, the third eye. Exactly. The third density where we're at is really dark, you guys. It's really, really energetically dark down here. And this is why when a 12th house person isn't, again, in their power and you're energetically open and you're porous, you go into the shadow of the energies, because the energies that are lingering around here are very, very dark, okay? So you have to have some sort of routine or something of the sort where you protect your own energy, where you cleanse, where you go into nature. That's another one I forgot to mention, you guys, okay? To strengthen your aura and protect your auric field, going into nature, being by bodies of water. Usually 12th house people are going to be very, very like drawn to water, because water is like an entity of its own and it's actually access to higher dimensions. You said you had a past life reading where you passed young. Oh, interesting. Do I delve into past life readings? I don't do past life readings anymore. I used to do them back in the day. With past life readings, like sometimes when it comes up, let's say in my natal chart reading, I will say things if I do pick up on them, but I don't do like overall past life readings for people now. You said, how can you navigate, or you said, how can your chart help you see and navigate money wounds to achieve more abundance? Okay, so for money, you guys, what I would recommend is look at your 4th house, actually, okay? Because your 4th house is going to be your home and it's going to be your upbringing, okay? And usually your 4th house is pulling you out of your 10th house, okay? That's the way that I see it. Now, this isn't like a good thing or a bad thing. I don't look at anything as a negative or positive anyways. It's just there, right? So your 4th house is pulling you out of your 10th house, okay? So with the 4th house pulling you out of your 10th house is where you are climbing to, okay? It's going to be career. It's going to be public image. You're trying to get to the 10th house. If you're not getting your career and your image and whatever, like the money and the gains, you want to look at the 4th house and look at what are belief systems that you may have internalized from the home, okay? Especially related, let's say, to money and so on and so forth, that are pulling you out of the 10th house. So look at the 4th house, okay? You can look at the 2nd house as well. You can also look at other things that are happening in your chart. Like, you know, that would have to be something to do with aspects. Look at the moon also to see the home and the upbringing. Look at the sun. Like the sun and the moon are going to tell you about the mother and the father and like maybe how they perceive, let's say, money and finances and so on and so forth. Because like there could be a lot of different money wounds. You know what I mean? When we look at money wounds. So it could be all the things that we spoke on already, okay, and we discussed. It could be anything to do with like, you know, sometimes let's say you have a son in Taurus, you know, you could have had a very materialistic father, and because maybe he was very materialistic, unconsciously he could have been working a lot of the time, so maybe he wasn't around, and now you have a negative relationship with money because you have now associated unconsciously that, you know, money's going to take your father away from you, okay? Do you know what I mean? So you really, really have to dig. Like you really have to dig and see what is it actually, right? Because you have to get to the root of it. Is really, really what it is, okay? Let's say it was like poverty that was happening throughout the family line, right? Well, then, you know, you'd have to work extra hard, right? Because again, this goes back to the socioeconomic bracket that I was speaking on earlier, right? Most people get trapped in the same socioeconomic bracket that they are in. So it's like, you know, if you're in a certain socioeconomic bracket, well, then maybe surrounding yourself by people who are wealthier than you, okay? Or something of the sort, or going to events where they're going to be wealthy people to see how do they think, how do they move, how do they operate, what are their belief systems, right? These types of things, okay? So it's like, you know, you can't kind of go into another vibration of something unless you've been around that thing. I hope that that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like unless you've learned what it's like or felt what it's like, do you know what I mean? Or seen how the people think, right? So things like this. You know how people say, yeah, exactly. It's tying back to aura and energy. I love it, okay? I love it when that happens because it just like all ties together, okay? So you can't, and this is what I mean, right? So a lot of the time when people are in a certain bracket, your friends are going to be in that bracket and the people around you are going to be in that bracket and so on and so forth. And that's not going to serve you because, again, this is going to be very Saturnian, Capricorn, okay? Quote, but it's like you are literally like the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? These days, even like the social media stuff you consume, okay? Because it's like, again, that's another thing. When you're watching somebody all the time, you are consuming their energy. You're consuming their auric field, okay? So if they have a positive auric field, if they have a negative auric field, if they have negative thoughts, especially if you're someone who is a little bit more energetically sensitive, right? So it's this. So you have to really reflect and see what's going on. You're welcome. You said you'd like a reading about launching your writing career here in early retirement. Would a progressed natal chart reading help there? Yes. You said, or does it only talk about this moment in time? So I don't do any sort of predictive readings, but with the progressed natal chart reading, it's going to say where you're at energetically right now, okay? So usually the progressed natal chart readings are going to resonate with people who are a little bit older, okay? Because you have progressed out of the original natal chart, right? Everyone's always progressing, but if you're younger, let's say you're in your early 20s or something of that sort, probably you don't have a lot of things that have progressed, right? If you're after maybe 30 and so on and so forth, things have started to move for you and progress for you, okay? It depends though, that's not going to be the rule of thumb for everybody, right? But generally this is the case because again, it depends on the degrees also, right? That's how they calculate the secondary progressions. Yes, so the progressed chart is going to resonate probably more with you, Gabriella, okay? Because again, it's going to tell you where you're at this point in time energetically. Now, what I say to people with the secondary progressions is it doesn't mean that the original natal chart is now gone and forgotten. It's just how you have grown and evolved through time. So let's say you're trying to work on something. Let's say in your case, you're looking to write a book. You know, for example, for those of you who are looking to do something of that sort, write a book, look at your 11th house, right? What sign do you have in your 11th house? And in your case, you could look at it in the original chart and you can look at it in your progressed chart. That's going to be the audience, okay? That's going to be interested in the type of work that you do, okay? So you can play with all of these things, right? Because it's in your energetic field, right? That's what it is. So if you're trying to launch something or work on something, you can look at the energy in the original chart and the progressed version of the chart, okay? I do have that channel, Gabriel. Yes, I do. It's called Barbara Talks Some More, okay? So Gabriel's asking if I have the channel where I do celebrity birth chart readings. Yes, I need to get back on that. I've had a celebrity coming through recently. The thing is, like for me to do those readings, like I have to feel the energy. Do you know what I mean? I have to hook into the energy and I was very, very busy. So yes, I need to get back to that. If you guys have anybody that you guys want me to read, I usually like to do crossover people, okay? People who aren't really in this current plane right now. So if you guys have anybody you guys want me to do, let me know. Maybe in the comments too afterwards, like after the live. You said, do I have 5 other people I could surround myself with in order to level up in some area? You really want to be able to access this. Perhaps it's the updated energy of the internet. What do you mean? Hey Jane, how are you doing? Yes, definitely let me know. So that channel's called Barbara Talks Some More. This is Barbara Talks and that one's Barbara Talks Some More. I was thinking about what to do with those readings. Like I started that channel and then I was thinking, I was like, should I do a Patreon? Should I put it on here? Should I do like members only? Let me know, what is the interest in the celebrity readings? You said you're a Gemini moon and your daughter, adult child, is Gemini rising. Does that mean she may feel unloved? No. Usually when you have moon and rising synastry, the moon person is like obsessed with the rising person. I'm wondering why you think that she might feel unloved with those placements. Exactly. I answered your question before I saw your comment. Yes, the synastry readings can apply to everybody. It's all relationships, okay? It can be your lovers, it can be your friends, it can be your manager, it can be your children, right? Your family members, your brothers, your sisters, everybody. Let's see, concern, you said wound versus general chart energies. You've had lots of wounds and it seems that your chart energies moved you forward nevertheless. Does that sound possible? Absolutely. So that's the thing, you guys. This is why. So I know these days, and here's the thing, okay, because I was in the community before too, so I get it, the whole healing community and these types of things when people talk about healing and so on and so forth. I was there once too. What I've realized the more that I learn astrology is it doesn't really matter if you have a wound. You just want to have the desired outcome, or let's say the goal or the ambition that needs to be stronger than the wound, okay? So you don't want to focus on just the wounds. You just want to make sure that the wounds aren't stronger than what you're trying to do. Do you know what I mean? So when you're more grounded in your purpose and what you're trying to do, like that's what I mean. It's like some of these things are always going to be within people. Like it's not like you're ever going to fully heal from something is really what that is. You just become better equipped, okay, for future situations and scenarios is really, really what that is. And especially when you see a natal chart, like you'll always have the same type of character coming through, you know? Because it's in your energetic code, but that's the earth plane trying to throw you off. Do you know what I mean? So you want to have this area, right? The goal, the dreams, the aspirations stronger than the wound is basically what that is, okay? The wounds you will know, like let's say someone is trying to throw you off your path, again, you have to get in tune with your body because usually they're going to pull you down into your solar plexus. It's going to be energy binding. It's going to be energy siphoning. It's going to be all these things, pulling your power away from you, like anything to distract you. It's always a distracting type of energy. You said you get me, you have been around work, alcoholics, business owner, father was a Virgo and a minister and more focused on himself than family earlier in his life and his children. His Virgo was in your 6th house and your Virgo and Pluto in the North Node. Can you tell me also what aspects you might have to the sun? I'm curious. Do you have any Sun, Pluto, Sun, Saturn aspects? Let me know. You said, have I ever researched on samadhi or enlightenment yogi stuff? Yes, I have. I used to be a yoga instructor. Actually, you guys, I've done so many things. I literally have done so many things. So I used to be a yoga instructor. I actually had my own yoga business for a period of time. Okay, so this was the trajectory, okay? So actually one of my first businesses was when I was in my undergrad. I was teaching math to other undergrad students, okay? That was one of my first businesses. But if we really look at really first business was like me selling lemonade to people. Anyways, I always love money, okay? And selling things to people. So that would have been like the first one, but whatever, I was a kid. So then the other one, okay, the other first one, okay, would have been when I was in my undergrad. I was teaching math to other students, okay? So I did that as a business. And then after that, I did styling. So I had a blog and then it turned into styling, okay? Like clothing styling, okay? Fashion styling, selling music videos and, you know, fashion shows and all the things. So I did that. And then I did networking for a brief period of time. Like I did networking events, okay, for a very, very brief period of time. So that was fun too. But that took a lot of time and energy and effort, like the event planning aspect of things. So I was like, I just want to focus more on my own stuff. So then I did that. And then after that, I did my yoga teacher. Yeah, I did my yoga teacher training. So I did my yoga teacher training. I had my yoga studio. It was a mobile yoga business, okay? And I also did kids yoga. I did not like kids yoga. I did not like kids yoga, okay? The children were wild, okay? They were absolutely wild. So I was like, okay, like we're gonna cancel that. So then I did the yoga, and then also after the yoga, I did the Reiki for a period of time. That was kind of working together, like the yoga business and the Reiki. And then I started teaching classes about all of these types of topics. Then I moved into astrology, okay? That has so far been the trajectory thus far, okay? Thus far, who knows what's next, right? But anyways, so far, that's what I've been doing. So anyways, to answer your question about all of the yogi things, I had to read a lot of yogi philosophy books, okay, when I was in my yoga teacher training. So yes, I've learned about samadhi, I've learned about enlightenment, and in general, I like reading, back in the day at least, I liked reading the original theological text, okay, the spiritual version of all the theological texts. So you guys can check out my book recommendations if you guys want to look at book recommendations, because I wanted to get to the spiritual roots of all of the different religions, okay? So yes, that's been the journey thus far. You said you worked at many jobs too. All of these things and jobs help though, right? Okay, I'm curious to know, do you have Jupiter in Virgo or do you have Jupiter in the 6th house? I'm curious. You said not sure your son is in the 12th house. Okay, that's why he was absent. You know, 12th house son, absence of a father figure early on in life, mental, emotional, or physical absence. You said, do I think it's true that Aquarians have a God complex, as some say? I wouldn't say so much for Aquarians. I mean, if they bounce off of Leo, yes. I would say the God complex people are probably the Sagittarius people, Sagittarius sun. You said, you bet I was the fastest to talking yoga instructor ever. You love it. Yes, that's the thing. Like, I enjoy the teaching aspect of yoga, but I didn't like that it was always the same thing. Do you know what I mean? And I'm hyper as a person, as you guys can tell, right? So I like to have more information rolling. You said we have lived so many lives, different lives. Exactly, Plutonians. Yes, Plutonians unite. Because here's the thing, you have to go through all of the different experiences to meet all the different types of people, to have all the different types of insights, to learn all the different types of things within this world, right? How things operate, how people move. That's probably why. But it's also, I think, a 12th house person type of thing, to engage with a lot of people, because that's kind of how you build your energetic repertoire. I call this energetic repertoire. You said you have Jupiter in Libra. Interesting. I'm curious to know, what is it with the jobs? Like, what could be bringing the abundance of jobs for you? Probably an aspect, maybe with your Jupiter. You're welcome, Silverest. Okay, I'm so glad. Did I open up Pandora's box for you? That's what I told you in one of the lives, or you guys, I told you guys in one of the lives, like when I said go through the metaphysical playlist and then maybe the exploring the chakras playlist, but I was like, give yourself some integration time, because it's a lot of information, okay? So yes. But I'm glad that you guys are open to it, which is good. You said not in real life. Maybe it applies to 5 people's energy. If online you see the quote, 5 teachers and a student, you have your nose in Gemini and Sag. Advice for Mercury dominant people, Saturn second dominant. That's some sort of business for you where you're talking and speaking, okay? With the Saturn energy in there. Hey. Yeah, you guys can go under my book recommendations. I think would be under my maybe miscellaneous astrology playlist. I'll put it in the information after the live. Or if you guys go under like the search and you type in book recommendations Barbara Talks, it should pop up, okay? Those book recommendations are all like theological types of books, okay? There's books about Gnosticism, there's books about Kabbalah in there, there's books about everything, all the religions under the sun, okay? So check it out if you guys are interested in learning more. You said Virgo ascendant, Mercury with Venus, and 7th, is it good? Virgo ascendant, Mercury with Venus. Can you tell me, is the Is the ascendant opposing your Venus? I'm curious to know. Venus in the 7th house always kind of feels like they have to be in a relationship, but also at the same time, you might have a lot of potential options. You said destruction or building detective work. Okay, that's what's so interesting that you say about that, Esperanza, because, okay, after changing my business name so many times, I had so many different business names, that's when I finally just changed my website name to my name, okay? Because then I was like, at least I know I'm not gonna change my name, and if I change my business, I can just change the website instead of constantly changing the name, constantly changing the domain name, going through all the changes of all the different things, so here I am. You said, oh, makes sense. Father was not emotionally available. World War II wet. Oh my gosh, makes so much sense. Okay, yay, I'm glad that that resonated. I'm glad that that resonated. I'm not sure who that is, that person. You said the numerology. You said, yes. Okay, so when you have Sun in the 12th house, this is what happens for Sun in the 12th house people, okay? Emotionally, okay, so the father is emotionally, mentally, or physically absent, okay? Maybe he's working all the time. Maybe he is actually out of the picture when you have Sun in the 12th house. Maybe he's on the couch all the time watching TV. Maybe he is on substances. That's the extreme manifestation of it, okay? Substance abuse of the 12th house is escapism. The father is escaping probably from his roles and his responsibility of actually being a father, okay? Now, with that being said, for Sun in the 12th house is Swala. Now, because you don't have a strong masculine role in your life, and sometimes this is also Saturn retrograde in people's charts as well, okay? Because you don't have a strong masculine role in your life, you now struggle with boundaries. You struggle with that solar plexus chakra that I spoke on, okay? You struggle with the sense of self. You struggle with direction. Unconsciously, this energy is always looking to be led. That's something that the 12th house is also meant to master down here on this earth plane, to stop putting other people on a pedestal and put themselves on a pedestal, but not in the way where you're better than everyone. It's not this. It's just like pulling your power back to you is really what that is. Because the 12th house Sun especially is going to be like, oh no, you can do it. No, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like those people who, like, let's say you're doing a group project and maybe you really want to be the one that's presenting, you know? And then you're like kind of projecting onto another person. You're like, no, you can do it. You know what I mean? Like that could be the 12th house Sun. Now what's interesting with 12th house Sun also, thank you, I'm glad that that resonates, okay? Also, 12th house Sun, what's interesting with them, okay, if we look at the Sun being ruled by Leo, having the Sun in the 12th gives you the energy of having Leo in the 12th, okay, which means in a past life, you could have been royalty, you could have been an entertainer, you could have been, let's say, someone who was a politician, something Leo-esque, a teacher or something of the sort. So you kind of carry this royalty energy within you. And probably, maybe this is why you know a lot of these spiritual truths of this earth plane, right? Because to be in those positions a little bit more elevated in society, you would have been in certain groups and certain clubs, if you guys catch my drift, right? So sometimes I think to myself, and sometimes I think to myself with the 12th house energy, I'm like, are these people coming through to rectify previous lifetimes, okay, where they have done something shady to get into these positions? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I just think about that sometimes, okay? Because of the Leo energy, if we look at the Sun being Leo in the 12th house, okay? So another thing that can happen with these people too, okay, is also they can be prone to cults, okay, to cults, whether it's a religious cult or whether it is, you know, somebody is a spiritual cult leader, whatever, okay? They're going to be prone to these things because unconsciously they're looking to be led. So they're always putting other people on a pedestal, looking to be led and so on and so forth, okay? The more divine, you know, version of this energy being expressed is you looking toward God, okay? That's kind of, I would say, the final form, okay, of this energy. The energy's pulled back towards you. You know, you are now leading yourself or feeling like you're being led by something greater, some sort of mission, some sort of purpose, something of the sort, okay? Hey, Joseph, how are you guys doing? I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, questions about your natal charts. Thank you, Diana. You guys are so kind with the kind words in here. You said, anybody know a Jupiter and Pisces person? You know a Jupiter and Pisces in the 9th house person. They always know what's going to happen. They can read people really well. That's a very spiritual placement, actually. You said, a beautiful musician, drugs, prison, then SUICIDE. You have a 12th house Sun. Yes, the 12th house is very intense. You said Rahu is a difficult planet to calculate. If Rahu is in the 4th house with the moon, Sagittarius for Virgo ascendant, Jupiter's 5th aspect from Leo, what would be the result for Virgo? I'd have to look at your overall natal chart for that. You said Catholic saints fascinate you with their devotion to God, fasting, suffering, martyr, probably also Pisces, exactly. So that's the thing too. So that's the thing too. The 12th house person might have the tendency, and this could also be another thing, maybe that some people, when you guys were asking about money, maybe this is another money wound, because sometimes 12th house people could have the tendency to believe that, you know, money is the root of all evil, like have these beliefs, right? you know, believe money's the root of all evil or money's not real. Like those are other beliefs, especially around 12th house people, okay? Where it's like that could also be pulling you out of maybe making more money, for example, because you could have this internal belief within you, okay? So that's another thing that could happen too as a 12th house individual, or if you have 12th house energy taking place in your natal chart. So it's interesting because again, yes, they can go into this martyrship energy or self-sacrificing or sacrificing for everybody around them, but that's also kind of shadowy if you think about it, right? Because it's like, again, you're not living for yourself. It's kind of like a spiritual ego, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? You said, let me see, I'm just going back up. You said, how would Jupiter conjunct Venus in the 12th house play out in one's life? So you have a lot of options, especially when it comes to romance, but also a lot of them are past life enemies. So there's that, okay? They could be like part of your quote unquote demise. So keep this in mind, okay? I'm not trying to put fear out there, but again, Venus in the 12th house is past life enemies coming through as lovers, okay? So, or friends. It could also be your friends too, okay? Because when you have Venus in the 12th, you see people through a rose-colored lens. You see them through this idealized version, right? And these people could be, again, sent to you to throw you off your path, or you could have a lot of karma to clear for these people as well. Can I tell you about Jupiter and Scorpio? So Jupiter blesses you in this area. So probably you have a lot of occult knowledge. What I've noticed with people who have Scorpio in their chart, a lot of them could have been magicians in a previous lifetime, okay? Or carried over a lot of like witchy, warlock types of energies where they have a lot of like belief, or not just belief, but just like a lot of knowledge, okay? About this plane and how it actually works down here, okay? Because everything, you guys, everything originates in the spiritual realms first, okay? Everything starts up there, and then we go into the physical aspect of things, okay? So as soon as something has hit the physical, it's already been manifesting in the spiritual plane, okay? If you even think about it in terms of a soul being born, right? The soul is floating around somewhere in the astral and energetically being pulled into this physical plane, okay? Yeah. I don't look at Vedic astrology. I only do the tropical Western astrology. You said I may have already answered it. Thoughts on Pluto in the first, Scorpio, and Chiron in Jupiter in the 9th house. Can you tell me, oh, you said it's trining. So you said Pluto, hold on a second. You said Pluto is in the first house, trining Chiron in Jupiter. You said Chiron and Jupiter in the 9th house and in Cancer. You have Pluto in the first house. That's something to do with your sense of self and your individuality. You're kind of healing some sort of wound about not being able to fully express, okay, the self with that trine taking place there, the Chiron trine, okay? You're healing that in this lifetime. And then also, I'm also getting for you with the Chiron and Jupiter in the 9th house and in Cancer, it's like you're literally healing a money wound. I'm not sure if you were one of the people who asked about money earlier, but yes, okay, you're healing some sort of money wound in this lifetime. Maybe the money wound is connected to like making money through feminine energy types of things, because Cancer is in there. I hope that that makes sense, right? So there could be something like maybe in a previous lifetime, you picked a more masculine role in terms of like how you made money, if that makes sense. And you're coming through in this lifetime to see you can make it through Cancer types of things or spiritual types of things or like the higher knowledge, something along these lines. That's what you're healing through. You said, you're welcome. You said your 12 house placements become first house in the whole signs houses. Definitely not you. Thoughts on the whole sign houses? I don't resonate with the whole sign system. I don't resonate with the whole sign system. I don't really have a reason why. It's just my chart resonates more and the Placidus tropical. So I do my readings on the Placidus tropical system. I'd have to do more research. I think the whole signs, the person came up with it after Placidus tropical. So there's something there that doesn't resonate with me. You said Scorpio magician in a past life. You said, you know that I'm not going to believe you, but you were talking with that same friend about that today. There you go. Confirmation. Okay. Scorpio energy. When you have strong Scorpio in your chart, you were probably some sort of magician in a previous lifetime. Okay. When you have strong Scorpio. Now you might be coming through to rectify maybe some shady things that you did in a previous lifetime. That's why Scorpio is like drawn to the dark, or they know a lot about the darkness and like these types of things, right? Because usually previous lifetimes. You said, any thoughts on Grand Trine with Mars in Cancer, Pluto, Scorpio, and Mercury in Pisces? Usually Grand Trine in water is an artist, okay? Or a psychic. You could also be very strongly psychic as well, okay? Psychic gifts and abilities. I'm just going back up to see if I missed any of you guys. Way at the beginning, you said it appears to you that some astrologers refer to the outer planets as generational planets, but it seems also that characteristics from like Pluto in the 6th house also apply individually. You said characteristics, thoughts. Okay, so with the generational energies, the way that I see it is the sign affects the whole generation, okay? And you, because you're part of that generation, but the house affects you more, okay? Because the house, you guys, is the area of life that the energy is being expressed in. So this is how you guys can learn it, okay? For yourselves. The planet is going to be what the energy is, okay? Then you have the sign. So the sign is how the energy is being expressed. And then the house is the area of life that energy is being expressed in, okay? So that's kind of how it works. You also said, is the wounded healer in the 12th house considered serious? This was part of a conversation with Gabriella. Serious in what way? Let me know. You said, hold on, I did that one. Thank you guys. Thank you. Yes, make sure you guys like the live. Thank you so much. You said, are auras exclusively visual or can they be seen energetically? Yes, absolutely, they can be seen energetically. This is the thing, when you are more psychically inclined, you don't have to see the person. Like I know some psychics, they have to look at your picture, for example, to tap into your energy. Not everybody, right? It depends how your gift works energetically, right? Some people are more visual. So the way you guys can know like where you guys are more inclined, it's based off of the 5 senses, right? So what does this mean? If you're someone who's more visual, you're probably going to be more clairvoyant, okay? I have a friend who is so sensitive to sound. Like for example, me and my friends send each other voice notes when we're speaking sometimes, and my friend is going to hear things that are like literally so far in the distance. Let's say there's a dog barking, or let's say somebody rang something, or let's say whatever, right? So my friend is very sensitive to sound. Like my friend is able to pick up on the subtle sounds that are literally like so far away in the background, right? That friend is also clairaudient, okay? So that friend is able to hear things in the astral as well, right? So there's that one. Then you also have clairsentient. If you're a feeler, you're gonna feel, right? So if you feel a lot, you're gonna feel the things around you. If you're a thinker, okay, you think a lot, you're going to be claircognizant, for example. You think about it, you're like, why is it like that? Why is it like that? Why is it like that? That's usually Scorpio energy, okay? Scorpio is usually like, why did they do it? Why did they do it that way? Why did they say it that way? Why did they look at that person? That's Scorpio energy, okay? They're always trying to come to some sort of conclusion, okay? And then what else do we have? Clairalient, okay? Clairalient is the scent. So if you have a strong sense of smell, and then if you have, let's say, a strong sense of taste, you're also going to be clairaugustus as well, okay? So those are the clairs. And then also, if you're clairsentient, you can be, let's say, an empath. You can also be even a medium as well, okay? So the thing is, if you have clairsentience, in my own opinion, I think you can, let's say, expand it into mediumship, right? Because you're still able to feel into energies, for example, okay? Hey everyone, Happy New Year. How you guys doing? And then empath, okay, this is one of those terms that is being thrown around on social media, not so much now, but especially like around 2021, people were really starting to use the word empath. An empath is someone who transmutes energy, okay? So an empath is usually placed in a situation where there is dark energy, or let's say it's a chaotic home environment, or let's say it's a chaotic street, or let's say it's a chaotic whatever, you go out to the library and someone's fighting in there and screaming, whatever, right? Do people still go to libraries? Anyways, okay? Yeah, it's clairaugustus or something like that. Clairaugustin, something like that, okay? I'm sure if you Google like the clairs, it'll come up, okay? That's the tasting one. So some people can like taste someone's vibes. Happy New Year, you guys. Happy New Year. I hope you all have a blessed New Year. Happy 2025. So it's this. So when you're an empath, you're transmuting the energies, okay? Like depending where you are. That's basically what it is. But you can also choose not to. This is what I mean. This is why I speak on it all the time. You don't have to be merging and purging all the time, okay? Because sometimes it's happening without you being aware of it. And it's kind of draining you and your life force energy. Well, there you go. Okay, wow. Okay, Silver S, that's so interesting because there was someone, actually, I had someone say this to me once, and then I actually recently saw somebody talking about it too. Someone told me that they were able to smell illness. That's another gift, okay? That's gonna be clairalience. So they're able to smell when somebody like has some kind of illness going on, which is really interesting. You called it synesthesia. Oh, interesting. I never heard about that. No worries. Welcome, you guys. I'm answering astrology, metaphysics, natal charts, all the things. Oh, thank you, Rocky. You said, am I an air sign Mercury? I am a Mercury in Libra. I'm a Mercury in Libra. I have a lot of third house in my chart, you guys. So that's probably why. My channel is literally called Barbara Talks, okay? So I'm here to speak, basically, okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then also I have Uranus aspecting my Mercury. What else? I have a few aspects to my Mercury. And then also my third house is in Sag. So that's what's going on with all of that. You have been ordained for 12 years, grand trine. Is that something spiritual or something of that sort? You said your neighbor crossed out a week ago and your sister told you. Exactly. There you go. Okay. So that would be clair aliens. Okay. When you can smell it. Some people have that gift. Okay. I met someone once, and I told you guys this on one of my lives as well. I met somebody once where this person was able to see spirits that were stuck between dimensions, right? So if they wanted to exercise that gift, they would basically be someone who helps people like leave the in-between energy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, spirits who are stuck here, kind of down here on this earth plane, like that would be one of their roles if they chose to. They told me they weren't interested in it, but they're able to see that. You said you keep hearing Aquarius is 20 years ahead, and then next is Pisces transcending. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully we just break free from the energetic structure by then though. He said, what does it mean if you have Libra midheaven in the 10th, but Scorpio North Node, Scorpio Jupiter, Scorpio part of fortune in the 10th, and Scorpio / Pluto in the 11th? Wow, that's a lot of Scorpio energy in there. So you have Libra midheaven in the 10th, but then you have a Scorpio North Node, you have Scorpio Jupiter, Scorpio part of fortune, and then, okay, Pluto and Scorpio is generational, so that's the whole generation. I'm curious to look at your chart to see the aspects and what's going on with everything else in there, but having all of that, okay, so your midheaven is how you present yourself to the world. It's going to be maybe the career, but it's more so the vibe of the career, okay? It's not the whole career, because for career, you can look at a lot of things, okay? So the vibe of career is something a Libra, okay? So it could be, let's say, a party host. It can be, let's say, a club promoter. It can be, let's say, a fashion designer. It could be someone who's in the legal world, so on and so forth, okay? With all this Scorpio energy in here, I can kind of see you doing something like private investigator or something to do with like true crime or something of the sort. It's kind of what I'm picking up on here for you, okay? I'm curious to know if you work in any of these fields, if you're in the room still. Okay, I'm glad. Yay, I'm glad that resonates. You said you wish you had more Scorpio placements. Too much Earth in your chart is so boring. Honestly, I'll tell you right now, you probably don't wish that you had more Scorpio placements. It's intense. Shadow Scorpio is intense, okay? I'll tell you guys that much. Shadow Scorpio is definitely intense. I'm going back up to see up here what I may have missed. But honestly, what I will also say is when you transmute the energies, it's also a blessing, okay? So you said with the new format, you guess you don't need to front load the live with the, oh, it's gone. The question is gone. Let's see, North Node in Virgo and, oh, hold on, maybe I can see it. I'm gonna try to pull it down. No, it's gone. It's gone forever. RIP. Okay. The nodes are switching and Venus is in Pisces. Is this why everyone is focusing on their next relationship? I heard a lot of people talking about that, like Venus being in Pisces and relationships and so on and so forth. Let me tell you guys, okay, just energetically what I'm picking up on for this year, okay? Energetically, you want to be, yes, you can focus on relationships, yes, but you don't want to place your stability on other people, okay? And you don't want to place your stability on external things, and you don't want to take the energy out of you and put it onto another person, okay? That's what I'm going to say. You want to focus this year on creating inner stability and inner peace. If someone comes through and they align with you, great, okay? But you don't want to have that be your main focus. I kind of feel like maybe because Venus is in Pisces right now, I can kind of see why people think that. But just like the energy for the overall year, is going to be very much about harnessing inner power, okay? So 12th house right here, Sun conjunct Pluto, Mercury, Uranus, and other potentials for a lot of power, but you feel so weak. Okay, that one's gone too. RIP to that question too. I tried to go back up, but those questions were like from the beginning of the live, so they're gone now. You said hi once you went to UK. You said hi. You said once went in a lake with your ex, and lots of people and had a really bad feeling about it, and you froze and felt depressed, went in the water anyway, and then you said a few days later your ex got an infection. Oh my goodness. I hope your ex is okay. You said, would that mean something like clairsentient? Exactly, okay? So you're picking up on the vibes, okay? You're picking up on the energies with that. You guys, it's all about listening to your intuition at the end of the day. If you guys have a bad vibe about something, don't engage with that thing or that person or that situation or that circumstance, okay? It's basically what it is. You said, as an 8th house Venus in Pisces, you don't get the hype. You've been on the shadow end and it's not pretty. Here's the thing, okay? This is my own opinion. I feel like I'm really in reality. It just is what it is, okay? Here's the thing. Venus, they say, is exalted in Pisces, and they say it's the best placement for Pisces, right? But here's the thing, okay? It's far from what actually happens down here on this earth plane. And most people are not in, like, they're not in alignment with their, like, they're not integrated, okay? It's basically the word that I'm looking for, right? When you have Venus in Pisces, and in general, Venus in Pisces as an energy, this energy can bring through a lot of illusions and delusions and falling in love with someone's higher self and who they could be, right? When it's like that person might not be who they are in the physical plane and in the physical reality, okay? So, for example, Venus being in Pisces, yes, it's exalted here, but I find that it's more so exalted for making money, if you think about it that way, right? In terms of making money through art, you're going to be blessed in that area. You're going to be blessed in the area of, you know, making money through creativity and maybe psychic things and so on and so forth. But when it comes to relationships, like Venus and Pisces can really go into like looking for a movie type of love and for that one true love and for this grand thing. And it can really go into like trying to get saved energetically. I'm so happy. Okay, you said you're starting to learn my humor. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love when you guys are able to catch on to my humor, okay? Where did I go and what did I do? There was something, I went somewhere and I made a joke and I can't remember what it was, but they like just didn't get it. What was it? Okay, there was actually 2 times. The one time that I'm thinking of, I can't remember, but there was another time. Okay, let me tell you guys this story, okay? Maybe you guys will get the joke. So anyways, I went to the Apple store, right? And for whatever reason, like, first of all, I like the headphones that plug in, okay, versus like the like Bluetooth headphones, just because they have the little microphone and it's easier for me to talk and it's like clearer, like the sound and whatever, right? And the music sounds better, okay? So I like the plug-in headphones, and I go to the Apple store, and for whatever reason, these headphones break every 2 months. At first I thought it was my old phone, but now I have a new phone and it's like these headphones are breaking every 2 months. I'm not gonna get into the conspiracy around that, okay? Anyways, I have my own theories. So whatever, I go to the Apple store and I'm trying to change my headphones, and whatever, the guy, and this was the second time I went in, okay? The second time I went in, because first I had to change something else, and then it was within like the same week or whatever, right? So I go in and whatever, the guy's bringing me the item, and then I say to the guy, and I'm like, oh, like, is the person, because like there's someone in the back that like brings the item out to you. I don't know if you guys have gone to the Apple store, right? So there's someone in the back that brings the item out to you, right? So then I say to him and I'm like, oh, like, is that person called the runner? Okay. And he's like, oh my gosh, how did you know? And I'm like, I don't know, that just like, it just came into my head, right? That's just like the visual that I got, like someone running, right? And then I said to the person, I'm like, it's literally like the person on like the tennis court who like chases the balls, right? And the person, like, they didn't get it. Like the joke went like right over their head. They were just like, okay, anyways. And then I was like, okay, yeah, see you later. Okay, give me 1 second, you guys. BRB. I'm back. Yeah. Let's see. You said wearing black, is that in tune with Scorpio energy? It is. It is. You said, please explain conflicting chart energies. Pisces in the air, Venus, and then Pluto in the 6th house. Intensity and workaholism. Yes, that's that Pluto in the 6th house. And then what does Pisces in the air, Venus mean? Are we talking about the transit, Pisces? Yeah, exactly. You want to listen to your intuition. And that's the thing, because it's like, okay, for example, one of the collective wounds is abandonment. And the abandonment wound is connected to not fitting in, and it's connected to not feeling like you fit and being ostracized from community and so on and so forth, right? That's the biggest wound, and that's one of the biggest ones I think that holds people back from doing anything in life, right? Because people want to fit, right? And it's like when you want to fit, you also, like, in that whole process, it's like your existence is being validated, right? So it's actually connected to the fear of death, okay? That whole wound of feeling rejected, essentially, right? By people, okay? Which part is sad? Let me know. Maybe I missed something. Anyways, so that's the wound, okay? The abandonment wound is there, and usually people hold themselves back out of fearing being rejected and so on and so forth, okay? With the abandonment wound. So that is the biggest wound, and that's the biggest wound within the collective. So what happens is, out of fear, this fear that's happening, that's kind of what that's kind of what pulls people out of listening to their intuition, is basically what I'm getting at, okay? Because sometimes, again, and that's connected to the solar plexus chakra, right? Because sometimes people don't want to say maybe what they're feeling in a moment, like something is a bad idea or bad news bears, because they don't want to feel rejected, whether it's by their friends or by their partner, by their family, and so on and so forth. And then you don't say anything, but that was like your intuition, for example, okay? I almost got sucked into a timeshare. Oh my gosh, did I ever tell you guys this story? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I didn't know. Do you guys know what timeshare is? It's like that whole, I don't even know if they exist anymore, okay? This was a few years ago. Apparently everybody knows what a timeshare is. I didn't know, okay? So I went away with my friends, okay? And one of our other friends, I think what was going on was like that friend was doing something else. So that friend wasn't with us. So it was me and my other friend, okay? It was just us two. And basically what ended up happening was we were like, and this is like when I was like super in my crown chakra, okay? And we were like a crowny type of friend group and so on and so forth, right? We were like super in the crown and so on and so forth, right? So anyways, during that period of time, basically like we were actually in Sedona, okay? Do you guys know Sedona in Arizona? So we were in Sedona, and what ended up happening was, I don't know where we were, but long story short, we ended up winning a free helicopter ride, okay? Which now, like in retrospect, I can't believe I actually went into that helicopter, but whatever, that was before Kobe and that whole situation, right? So whatever, and we were so excited, we're like, oh my gosh, like everything alignment, we got a free helicopter ride, wee, right? So we got so excited about the helicopter ride. So we did the helicopter, we didn't do the helicopter yet. They were like, first you have to go to this presentation and then you'll get to have your helicopter ride. Oh my gosh. So anyways, we go to the presentation, okay? No, this is actually comedic. Like this is what sitcoms are made out of, okay? So we go to the presentation and whatever. I can't remember all the details and how long it was and so on and so forth. But then basically they, you know, sell you this whole thing, like this whole travel package. And I love to travel and my friend loves to travel. And basically like, you know, you have to sign this. And I can't remember all the logistics now, right? But basically timeshare, when you get sucked into it, you can't actually get out of it because you've signed it kind of thing. And there's like lawyers and so on and so forth that try to get people out of timeshares, okay? So neither of us knew what a timeshare was, okay? So we do the presentation. Yeah, exactly. Rest in peace, Kobe. So anyways, we do the timeshare we do the presentation and then we go to this room, okay? And it was honestly, this is the comedic part, okay? So we're like sitting there and it was so interesting because in my head, I was like, I don't want to put on my credit card. So I was like to my friend, I'm like, do you want to put it on your credit card, right? So my friend was like, okay, sure. And there was another group of people there too. And it was so funny because when the other group of people signed, they like popped a balloon. I don't know, to me it's just so comedic. Like it's literally like those sitcoms, okay? Anyway, so then my friend signs the paper and then I don't know what it was. I think we went to the bathroom or something. Like we kind of went away and I said to my friend, I'm like, I honestly have such a bad vibe about this. I'm so happy I spoke up because in that moment we ended up canceling it. We ripped up those papers and then after we found out what a timeshare was. So yes, if you guys want to research what a timeshare is and like learn more information, like don't get sucked into one of those because it's hard to get out of them apparently. You said Coast to Coast AM has a guy named who claims to be able, exactly. Yeah, we found out after when we were researching it that there's like lawyers out there who like help people get out of timeshares and so on and so forth. I'm curious to know if there's still a thing these days. This was a few years ago now. Can I tell you about Aquarius midheaven and Aquarius Mercury? Okay, so here to use your crown chakra, and this is someone who is futuristic and ahead of the time, and here to basically bring through like an idea or like an invention or something techie, like something futuristic, okay? You're basically meant to anchor that. You said sad, it makes sense, but also who really wants to fit in? Or is that just social norms? Yeah, it depends. Like, it depends like how people are socialized, right? Because some people are socialized to feel like they need to fit, right? And then some people are born with any of that. So if you have Uranus energy, you'll know what I'm talking about. You don't have any sort of like, okay, I have to do this type of custom or this type of tradition because I don't see the point in that. Like that's very Uranus energy. And Aquarius, you said North Node conjunct Mars retrograde in Virgo. So for you to activate your North Node, which is your life purpose, you basically are going to be placed in a situation. It could be through masculines, but it's also through like you finding your own power first, okay? With that Mars energy in there. That's part of your life purpose. You said a lot of people want to fit in because they don't know who they are. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people want to fit in because okay, so I talked about this in my previous live as well, okay? Your ego and your identity is, okay, so you want to create your identity like about yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like what you like to do and like things that are from within. A lot of people don't do that. So they connect their identity to things that are external to them, okay? So it could be their job, it could be their partner, it could be the city they live in, it could be their status, right? So they connect it to that thing, and then when that thing is no longer there, they have a whole crisis, right? Because it's like, I don't know, I guess the everyday person, and here's the thing, I'm Scorpio dominant, Pluto dominant, right, at the end of the day, so the only constant in life is change, is really what it is, but maybe the everyday person isn't in that energy, most people aren't, right? So it's like a lot of people try to create their stability through these external things, right, especially in like a volatile world and in the volatile times that we're living in, right? But it's like when that thing is not in your life anymore, people go through a crisis, they go through an identity crisis, and also they go through an ego death as well, right? So you never want to place it on external things, okay? Is really what that is. That's the way that I see it. So it's this. I hope you're doing well too. Non-duality, how are you? What's my view on Vedic astrology? I mean, I've had Vedic astrology natal chart readings done. They have resonated with me. The Placid tropical system resonates with me more though. I find that the Vedic astrology is more geared toward relationships. Like they're very focused on marriage and finding a partner and these types of things. So if you're interested in finding more information about that, I think Vedic astrology is really good for that. I know some people try to say, here's the thing, I've heard so many people say so many different things. Some people say that's the true astrology because of the constellations. Other people say that there's this Babylonian type of astrology, this is true astrology. You want to look at everything because the information is available to us for a reason, right? That's how I see it. So because the information is available to us for a reason, it's like you still want to learn it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like at the end of the day, the people who are in power or in control, allegedly, in my own opinion, they're still not going to tell us the whole truth. So you actually have to do the research and you have to actually have the discernment is basically what that is to see what actually resonates with you is really, really what that is. You said that was amazing what I said about the planet Mars and why they want to go there. I'm glad that that resonated. Check out my threads, you guys. Okay, all these things that I talk about eventually on here, I post on threads when I get the idea in my head and I put it on there. Okay, with Mars and the whole obsession with Mars and what they're trying to do. Another theory that I have had, which again is connected to them not being the most intelligent people, is that if there really is something around the earth. Okay, so this is what I was thinking about once too. How can I say this? How can I say this? Okay, so you know how people think that there's something physical around the earth, right? I don't think it's physical. I think it's energetic, okay? So I think in their very linear shadow masculine minds, okay? It's shadow masculine, okay? It's very inverted, everything down here, okay? So in their shadow masculine minds, I think that they can break the whole energetic structure that's around the earth plane, which is operated by Saturn, by using the rockets, right? But the thing is, if you've seen the videos of the rockets, exactly, yeah, I'm trying, exactly, T, you're on the money, okay? I'm trying not to say that word because you know how you can't say something's on here. So I think they think in their minds that this thing is physical. Okay, yeah, they think it's physical, but it's not physical. That's where they're wrong, okay? Because if you see some videos where they try to shoot the rocket up, it like doesn't go through, right? So I think they're trying to physically break like out of here, but it's like, it's not a physical thing. It's actually an energetic thing, okay? So you have to break like the energy, like you have to energetically break it in from within. I hope that that makes sense. So the thing that's around the earth plane is something energetic. It's gridded, but it's also something that's energetic, and that's what operates astrology, and that's what operates everything down here, okay? So they're aware of that. So I think they're trying to break it, and they're also probably trying to break it for the reason of karma, and again, not wanting to reincarnate, or like for them, they don't want to reincarnate because they don't want to face the karmic repercussions of their actions, okay? I hope that that makes sense. So that's why they're kind of trying to do all these things. But the thing is, to get to these other places, you actually have to go dimensionally is really, really what that is, okay? I don't know what that word means, Esperanza. Maybe you can use another word. I'm not sure what that means. You said, can I tell you about Pluto and Libra? Yes, check out my videos. It's under the Pluto playlist. That's a generational planet. So that is all of Gen X, Pluto and Libra. You incarnate with them together to clear a specific type of karma, okay? So within Gen X, I find that they're very much friendly oriented. They have a lot of friends. They're very much about in-person hangouts. They all have like a lot of like groups of friends. I noticed with Gen X people as well with them. So basically they're breaking free from like beliefs around relationships, okay? And like, what is a relationship and all these things, right? And within that generation, let's say like divorce started getting normalized or the parents got divorced, like these types of things, right? Like breaking free from, because Pluto, you're breaking through that energy, right? So you're breaking through the energy of Libra, right? So it's belief systems around relationships and so on and so forth. Oh yes, okay. I was wondering if you meant that. I just didn't understand in what context, Esperanza. Yeah, they're trying to break it, but like, I don't think that they can physically break it. I think it's an energetic thing. In my own opinion, allegedly. That's all I can say. You said, what does it mean if Juno is in the 9th house in Libra? I have a video on Juno if you want to check it out as well. It's interesting with Juno. They talk about Juno like in terms of relationships, but then I also heard that Juno is an asteroid, so it might not be able to affect your relationships as much. So check out that video, okay? I have a lot of videos on here, you guys. If you guys are new here, check out my playlist, okay? So everything on here is divided into a playlist, okay? And that's my Virgo 12th house. Very proud, okay? So check out the playlist. Under the playlist, you know, there's everything in there. Let's say there's a topic you're interested in, you can go under the playlist. So some interesting playlists you guys can check out are my miscellaneous playlist, okay? Miscellaneous playlist. I have a lot of fun videos in there as well in the miscellaneous playlist. And I also have a metaphysical playlist. And then I have all the, let's say, planets playlists, 12 house playlists. I have 8 house playlists. Yes, they are helpful. I'm very proud of them. I'm so glad. Thank you for saying that. Yes, my pride and glory are the playlists. You said that Mercurial Libra attorney signature allegedly. I mean, it is what it is. You have to be smart in this world, you know? You said Saturn in Aries in the 9th house. So you're going to go through your Saturn return. I'm curious if it's your first Saturn return or your second Saturn return. So Saturn in Aries is a restriction on the sense of self, okay? And expressing the self and being number one and being the best and all these things, okay? So you could have been restricted when you were a kid by the father and then by teachers and by managers and so on and so forth, okay? Saturn in Aries, it's you and the subset of your generation. Saturn in the 9th house could be restricted in the higher mind and learning and education. So sometimes these people get an education later on in life, for example, okay? Let's say you didn't do an undergrad, you didn't do whatever, like college or whatever, right? So you might do it later on in life, for example. You're welcome. You said, can I tell you about having Capricorn North Node and having Capricorn intercepted in your houses? Yeah, so when you have an interception, you guys, and then you have intercepted placements, to me, that draws my attention to it more, okay? Because now you have to work harder to pull the energy out, okay? Because you weren't used to that energy when you were growing up. Everything stems from the original two caregivers, okay? So what does this mean? Okay, what does this mean? Well, Capricorn intercepted, for example, could be, let's say, money, wealth gains, hustling, all these things. It could be something that you're not used to. So let's say you're the first one to start a family business, for example, okay? Or something of that sort. Oh, no, wait, T, you said it's your first one. I don't know why I thought you were older, just energetically, probably an older soul or something of that sort when I would tap into your energy, like just from the chats here. You said it's in your 8th house and you're getting your bachelor's right now. Nice. You're currently 27. Okay. So you're going to be going, well, if you're not married, that's good because then you won't go through a separation of assets during your Saturn return. BRB, guys. I'm back. Okay, you guys. I have added, so I said this at the beginning of the live, but I'm going to tell you guys again, okay? I have added new services. So I've added a mini natal chart reading. Okay, we'll start from the beginning. I have the 1 question reading if you guys are interested in just 1 question about a topic. And all of my readings are a video audio format. So it's a video, but I'm talking in the video the entire time, okay? So there's a 1 question reading. Then I have the mini natal chart reading. And the mini natal chart reading, you guys can pick the topic that you guys want me to talk about. If there's something you want me to focus on, or I can just tell you what jumps out at me when I first pull up your chart, okay? That one is 20 minutes. That's the mini natal chart reading. Then I have the regular readings that I always have. So progress natal chart, regular natal chart, and then also synastry readings, okay? So in all of those, I go in depth. I talk the entire time, okay? So the natal chart and the synastry reading are 1 hour, and then the progress natal chart is now 1 hour and 20 minutes, okay? And the entire time I am talking, okay? I'm talking and talking and talking and talking, okay? The entire time. Okay, no pauses, basically, okay? The entire time I'm going to talk. So that's basically those readings. And then after that, if you've done one of the in-depth readings, so if you've done the progress natal chart reading or if you've done the natal chart reading, okay, then I have the follow-ups, okay? If you guys want to chat more about your natal charts, if you want to learn more about your natal charts, okay? So if you want to learn, if you want to talk about it, it's not going to be a reading the follow-up. So I have 30-minute follow-up and I have 1 hour follow-up, but that's if you want to meet and talk and ask questions and so on and so forth, okay? To get there, you have to do the readings first, okay? The in-depth readings, okay? No pauses. Yeah. Not even a BRB, exactly, none, okay? Even if there is one, it's edited out of the reading, okay? So that's basically what's going on in there. And then I also have so I also have an emergency natal chart reading. That's if you want your natal chart reading in 24 hours, okay? But otherwise, if you guys email me, when you select the reading, an email window should pop up, okay? You tell me which reading you want, then I'll send you the information. I'll tell you the turnaround time. I'll tell you everything, okay? After you send me the email first. So that's how we will arrange that, okay? So the turnaround time depends how busy I am, okay? And what the volume is, okay? So it's always gonna be different, okay? Okay, so that's that. And then also if you guys want business guidance, okay? If you guys want to start your own business, or if you're interested in business, or if you guys just want to talk about business, or if you guys just have questions about business, okay? Everything. Oh my gosh, Japan, hey! Yo, okay, I really wanted to go to Japan last year, but I didn't end up going to Japan. So yeah, I wanted to go to Japan last year. Still on my list, it's still on my list, okay? I'd have to plan a longer trip if I went to Japan because I'd be going to the other side of the world. But yes, I definitely want to visit Japan. I wanted to go see Japan. Okay, so back to business, okay? So business guidance is also a meeting. So that's an in-person meeting as well, okay? So you guys can send me an email with that too, and we can arrange all of that, okay? So those are all my current services if you guys are interested in anything, okay? You said I'm a lawyer, separation of assets, ha ha ha. There's my humor. Yeah, exactly. I love it when you guys can appreciate the humor and you guys get the humor. I'm so here for it because I also, okay, it's interesting. I wanted to do a lot of things in my life, okay? I'm very ambitious. When I was a kid, I actually wanted to be a lawyer when I was a kid, but then when I found out how much school you had to do, I was like, absolutely not. Yeah, no. I was like, that's not gonna happen. Like I barely got through like the 4-year like university college situation, okay? Which ended up being 2 degrees, but that's a whole different story for a different day. Anyways, so yes, that's how I got over the whole lawyer situation. I remember asking when I was, I think like in high school, I was like, how much school do you have to do? And they told me, and I was like, yeah, that's not happening. I can't focus. Like I can't sit down and learn all the things. Like I just don't care. Okay. So anyways, so that was that. And then I also wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to be a comedian for a period of time, but now I get to be a comedian with you guys too. So thank you, Nate. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you guys for the kind words. Neptune in Sagittarius is generational, okay? So you guys don't see the area of Sagittarius clearly, okay? You said, can we use anonymous ancient? Ooh, that's a new one. Okay, I really have to compile all of these. I'm just trying to see how, I'm trying to see how I can screenshot on here now with this. Okay, I got it, okay? Because everything now is like in a different format. So it's like I'm getting used to the format too, but I screenshotted it. I did it, okay? I need to compile all the names and then we'll vote on the names, okay? So again, if you guys have any names for our community, okay, let me know in the chat or in the replay, okay, in the comments. You said an emergency reading. That seems so you want to know something, you want to know it now. Yeah, that's exactly, okay? I get it. I know that there's people out there who are exactly like that. You said, what's my sun, moon, rising, and Mercury? Okay, my sun is in Libra, my moon is in Scorpio, my rising is in Libra, and my Mercury is in Libra, okay? All Libra, and then the rest, I have Scorpio energies in my chart as well. So I got a Libra stellium and I got a Scorpio stellium taking place in my chart. So sun is conjunct, yes. So sun, moon, rising, and Mercury, yes. So my sun is in Libra 12th house, Mercury is in Libra 12th house, moon is in Scorpio 1st house. So I can't hide anything. That's the struggle, okay? Moon in the 1st house. When I don't like you, you'll see it on my face. I think I've gotten better at that though. I think I've gotten better at hiding my facial expressions. You said, what's Mercury and Libra energy like? Watch all the videos. That's what it's like. You said Neptune in Sag. I love how you spell Sag, by the way. Yes. Galactic Central, every time, Esperanza, I'm like, I need to check it, and then I don't. You said, no wonder I talk so fast. Thank you. I have Uranus aspect in my Mercury. I think that's why I talk fast. You said, people have a hard time reading you, but you read them so well. Yeah, honestly, as time has gone on, I've learned, because it's so interesting. Okay, here's the thing, you guys. I used to work in retail, okay? Oh, thank you. Exactly. That's how I get by in life, basically. You're welcome. Okay, so when I worked in retail, okay, so I started working, you guys, I got my first job when I was 15, but then I started working when I was 16 because like whatever legalities and so on and so forth, okay? So I had to wait until I was 16, but I was only a month, okay? So when I turned 16, I got my first job and then I went into the job, and like when you're in retail, because I worked in retail, like you have to be nice and all these types of things, and they all told me that I just don't look very nice with my resting face, right? So because of that, I kind of learned to always smile, okay, just from working there for so long. So I'm always smiling, and I'm like actually surprised because like when I see people out in the streets, okay, and I smile at them and they don't smile back, I'm like, are you good? Like, what's going on? You said typical Scorpio reading, people, you're in the A house Scorpio moon. Oh, no way, you're a Scorpio moon. Exactly. The RBF. Yeah, literally. So I got used to always smiling. So now I feel like because I always have a little bit of a smile on my face from working there. I worked there for 7 years, okay? You said it's the Scorpio moon I have. Yeah, it is. I find that also, like, I look unimpressed too most of the time. I'm always kind of like, you know, just like unimpressed. But yes, it is this. But because I worked there for so long, I worked there for 7 years, you guys. Like I worked there for a really long time. So I got used to the customer service type of just like having a little bit of a smile on my face. And then I noticed now when I'm like out and about, like random people start talking to me and I'm like, is it because I kind of have like a smile going on? Like, I don't know. You're an A house moon, no way. Yes. You said you have a Virgo stellium, but sometimes it feels more like a Pisces. Yeah, that's exactly another thing that happens, okay? You bounce off of the energies. Like, it's interesting. I've had people ask me before if I'm an Aries, which I found interesting. So I've had a lot of Aries around me, like a lot of Aries energy. You said you're constantly unimpressed. Your friend told you look aloof. I'm curious if you have a Uranus, because usually Uranus looks like Uranus aspects look aloof when they're out and about. You said if someone thinks you're unimpressed, tell them to impress you. No, no one has ever said that to me. That's just something that I noticed, like when I'm just like not smiling. You said same, unbothered, not impressed. Maybe it's the A house, because when you have, okay, in my case, I have a Scorpio stellium, okay? Scorpio stellium, and I'm Pluto dominant. So it's like, you just know everything at that point in time. You're just kind of like, okay, what are you saying now? Okay, this person's lying. That person's lying. This person's trying to do this. That person's trying to hook up with that person. This person's trying to get here. That person's a thief. Do you know what I mean? You see it all. It's a blessing. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a good place to be. You said Uranus. Okay, you just have Uranus conjunct Jupiter. Okay, so that's generational more so. Okay, guys, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here for this new live format. I love it. If you guys are watching the live replay, or you guys have any themes or sorts of topics that you guys want me to talk about, let me know in the comments below. You said we're too alike. Obviously, your vibe attracts your tribe. Exactly. You said we've seen it all at this point. The thing is, as a Scorpio dominant, if you haven't seen it directly, you've seen it through other people around you. Do you know what I mean? I have stories for days. I just don't like telling other people's business. Do you know what I mean? I've seen a lot, okay, through everybody, like vicariously, okay? So I just don't like telling other people's business. That's the Scorpio energy within me. But yes, you guys are welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the channel, for your likes and your shares and your subscribes and the community vibe, and for being a part of the chat, and for the questions, and for the comments, and for all the things. Okay, I hope you all have a beautiful day or evening wherever